Hi guys, welcome back to Chris Cowlin's channel for this live Premier League watch along for the game between Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. I don't know about you guys, but I've thoroughly enjoyed having nearly 3 weeks off. No Tottenham Hotspur devastating me. I feel replenished. I feel refreshed. I feel like anything is possible. And then of course, the first game back is the game along with the game every year at the Emirates where we get absolutely nothing. But I don't know. I've made videos about how I'm kind of expecting us to get turned over easily, but there is a little part of me, and I'm going to say it out loud, there is a little part of me that wonders if similarly to when we go to the Etihad to play Man City, and I'm expecting us to get absolutely trounced, and then we go there and we win 4-0. Or like last season when we went to Villa Park, expecting to lose. We did them, 4-0, 4-1? Maybe something could happen tonight. That's the excitement I have from having 3 weeks off Tottenham Hotspur. Very, very exciting. And maybe just like the Champions League final of 2019, it'll last only 22 seconds. And Moussa Sissoko will somehow magically appear at Stamford Bridge with his armpit. But we are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. Do get involved. Get in the comments, guys. I'm going to be doing this watch along for the entire game. Then straight after the game, I will be doing a post-match reaction video. And then it'll be the fan show where I speak to Tottenham fans from all around the world on their thoughts on tonight's game and on Tottenham in general. And of course, realistically, we'll be talking a lot about Ange Postecoglou and his security as manager of Tottenham Hotspur. If you haven't already, and I'm sure a lot of you have, most of you have, but make sure you are subscribed to Chris Cowlin's YouTube channel, at Chris Cowlin, the Don of Tottenham Hotspur content, frankly, spewing out content on YouTube for you all day, every day about his beloved and all of our beloved Tottenham Hotspur. Make sure you're subscribed to Chris. Do give this video a like if you haven't already. The more likes we get from Spurs fans, the more Spurs fans will see this video and tune in, and that's what we need. And also, you'll see there in the bottom left-hand corner, my YouTube channel, at Barnaby Slater _ for more daily Tottenham Hotspur content. Also tonight, Chris Cowlin himself, the man, is at Stamford Bridge. So he will be posting video updates on the channel throughout the evening, as well as the post-match press conferences after the game. So keep an eye out for all of that. And then after the fan show tonight, Craig Dearman will be hosting the Spurs Chat podcast at 11 o'clock on Chris's channel, where he'll be joined by Ricky Norwood, Richard Whitehead MBE, and Simon Foxhall. How are you guys feeling about tonight's game? I've watched a lot of people, Spurs fans on social media, talk about how resigned they are to defeat. And obviously that is the common sense viewpoint. But for some reason, as we got closer to kickoff, I guess I'm just, I'm buzzed by the excitement of seeing Spurs again. It's been a long time, and therefore I've managed to somehow forget how dross we were, for instance, against Fulham in the most part. And maybe, I don't know, just maybe something can happen. Maybe something can happen. Let's talk about the team news. Ange, in my opinion, has gone as strong as he possibly can do. Vicario in goal. Spence starts at right back ahead of Pedro Porro. That's good for the physicality in the team as far as I'm concerned. Udogie starts at left back. Van de Ven and Romero start together at centre half for the first time since we played, guess who? Chelsea. And I think that was like the 9th of December or something like that. So nearly 4 months. And they both got injured that game, didn't they? But that's something we'll talk about even more. But that centre-back pairing is back. Sky Sports just showing Spurs' record at Stamford Bridge. 32 games in the Premier League, 1 win, 11 draws, 20 defeats. That win was, of course, when Dele Alli scored that absolutely brilliant goal, taking it down from Eric Dyer's long pass, and then Christian Eriksen as well with an absolute worldie. So the stats are against us, but sometimes these things have to be broken. Meanwhile, in midfield, Bergvall, Bentancur, and Maddison. Bergvall, as far as I'm concerned, one of the first names of the team sheet for Spurs these days. So I'm glad that he's back. He got a bug during the international break and missed both games for Sweden. Bentancur, I don't think, has been on great form, but I would have him in the team certainly ahead of Yves Bissouma. There's an argument for Pat Matar, but I think against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, you're going to need to keep control of the ball. And although Sarr would bring us legs in the engine room back and forward, I think we're going to need to take the ball on the half turn because Chelsea will press us. And then Madders, let's see how he does today. He loves the big game. He wants to be the main man, and we need him tonight like we had him at the Etihad, where he made that great run for the first goal deep into the box. Then the forward line, Sonny, the captain, on the left. Odebear on the right keeps his place. I'm pleased about that. A bit of genuine pace and Dominic Solanke up front. The bench, Kinski, Porro, Davis, Gray, Basuma Sarr, Mikey Moore, Brennan Johnson, and Matthias Tell. So a very strong bench as well. In terms of the Chelsea team, Sanchez, Gusto, Chalobah, who I think has scored his only ever goal for Chelsea against Spurs pretty much, Colwill, Cucurella, Enzo and Caicedo in midfield, and then Neto, who was, of course, on Spurs' list, Cole Palmer, Jadon Sancho, and Nicholas Jackson. So Sancho, Palmer, and Jackson, and Sancho all back fit again. The bench, Jorgensen, Tosin, Badiashile, James, Akimpong, Dewsbury Hall, Madueke, and Nkunku, and George. Lots of those Chelsea players have been out of form. And in fact, I sent my cousins, who are big Chelsea fans, a text today saying that these are my predictions, either Chelsea will win easily and Spurs will find new and more hilarious ways to concede goals, get sent off, and or get injured. And all of Chelsea's out of form players will play themselves back into form. So either that will happen, or Spurs will win 4-0. There's no in between. And sadly, the chance of the latter happening, I think, is like 0.01%. So what I'm saying here is like the script is written that basically Jadon Sancho, since they played, Chelsea played at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and turned us over there 4-3, and Jadon Sancho had his best game in a Chelsea shirt and his best game in the Premier League for years. Since then, he hasn't scored a goal and barely made an assist. So you can guarantee that he'll score again or make an assist. Absolutely guaranteed. And then Palmer's been out of form. He'll play himself back into form. And Nicholas Jackson's been injured. And Nicholas Jackson looks like he's like Didier Drogba when he plays against us. So they're my predictions. Let's hope I'm wrong. By saying it out loud, I'm wrong. The players just coming out onto the pitch now. 3 minutes to 8, I make it, and the players out on the pitch. So let me know how much in delay I am, guys. I won't be looking at the comments during the game because I think you guys will be a bit ahead of me. But at halftime, I'll be right in the comments. So get your questions in, and I will be answering them all during halftime. And, of course, after the game as well. How do you guys feel about Ange Postecoglou right now? Is this 2 weeks, vital 2-week period where we have Chelsea away tonight, then Southampton at home at the weekend, and then, of course, Eintracht Frankfurt, first leg at home a week today, then Wolves, and then the second leg of the Eintracht Frankfurt quarterfinal. Is it the beginning of the end for Ange these 2 weeks? Or is this the start of a momentum shift to glory? Ange Postecoglou could become an absolute hero at Tottenham Hotspur if he stuffs everyone's negativity down their throat by winning the Europa League. That could be what this 2 week starts us towards. But unfortunately, experience shows us that even our best Spurs teams don't really get results at Chelsea very often. Obviously, Pochettino's side won, as I mentioned earlier. Conte's team got that draw on early in the season a few years ago when there was the Tuchel-Conte handshake. Let's see what happens. I think most importantly, I hate to say this because it's bleak and negative, but most importantly, we just need Van de Ven and Romero and Solanke and Odebear and Maddison, just that spine, and Bergvall now to stay fit and to not get injured. We cannot have any more injuries. That is absolutely the key element as far as I'm concerned. What would you guys do against Southampton at the weekend? He's picked his strongest team tonight. I think that's the right thing to do. This team need to get rhythm into their legs and start playing together because they haven't just for so long. So I'm glad he's picked his strongest team now. But I would, against Southampton at home at the weekend, I would heavily rotate. But let me know what you think in the comments. Would you heavily rotate against Southampton? Some people are saying that they would play their best team 3 matches in a row. This game, Southampton, and then into Eintracht Frankfurt so that they can get that rhythm together. But I think it's just too risky. I just think it's too risky in terms of the injuries. And of course, you know, we get injuries and we get sendings off in this game so regularly anyway. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments just before kickoff. Six Worlds, thanks for your comments. Says we have the team. The boys just need to grow a set and actually attack. Tom Bowdler, thanks for your comment, mate. Says, bit worried about our discipline in this one. Yeah, well, you know, I have to say, I was very frustrated to see the Everton player, Tarkowski, not getting sent off yesterday for what was an infinitely worse foul, like tackle foul, than the one that Christian Romero got sent off for against Chelsea last season. Cokehan says 3-1 Spurs. Blurbly, thank you for your comment. Appreciate that. Tuned in. He says, tuned in. Barnaby is one of our finest. My hope is a disciplined performance. This should be. Tom says, wonder where Romero's head will be at. And Blurbly says, I hope to see a disciplined performance. This is just a prep game for Frankfurt. Okay, guys, we're about to kick off, so I'm going to drop out of the comments. I hope I'm not too delayed for you, but if I am, pause wherever it is you're watching so you can catch up with me Like I said, Thomas. Oh, by the way, Thomas Tuchel is in the crowd tonight, watching a few players. James Maddison for one. I don't know. While it's still 0-0, I'm pretty excited about this game. But how will Tottenham find ways to depress us? Come on, you Spurs. Madders kicks off. Spurs playing left to right as we look at it, and Mickey van der Ven plays the long ball up towards Dom Solanke. And Bergvall gets an early touch and deals with it well to Jed Spence. Plays it inside. Spurs trying to get some football played early doors here. And Bergvall plays one down into the channel for Solanke to chase. Oh, Odebear. Oh, Odebear had a 50-50 there and just kind of pulled out of it a little bit. No problem. Half decent atmosphere at Stamford Bridge, but nothing too raucous by the sound of it. Caicedo just fouled there from James Maddison. Caicedo and Enzo have had some of the best games I've seen them play for Chelsea against Spurs, which frustrates me, but that's the way it is with big game players that you spend £100 million on. As Sanchez plays it out to Chalobah, just going for the straight one over the top. And tell you what, Jackson's through already. Here we go. Here we go. And they've hit the post. Spurs got away with it. Oh, my God. I literally... Oh, and they've got another chance here. They're going to jick it. Another chance. Oh, my God. And they've still got the ball, Chelsea. It was just one straight ball over the top, and Van der Ven wasn't able to catch up, and Romero wasn't able to catch up. And in the end, Vicario and Jackson were face to face. And I think the ball actually hit the post off a Spurs player. And now the Chelsea fans are up. And Chelsea now really into it. Palmer out wide. Chance at the near post. Good defending, though, from Spurs. And Spurs, as ever, just trying to pass it out of play. And Jed Spence now under pressure. Oh, Jed Spence turns away from two Chelsea players. Now, can he find an easy ball? No, he loses it instead. And that sums it up, doesn't it? That sums it up. Oh, now Destiny Udogi's whipped it off. This game is open already. And Spurs are in down the left with Son Heung-min. Lay it inside, Sonny. He goes outside him. Has a dig. Corner, Spurs. Oh, my God. And we haven't even had time to see the replay. Sonny did the step over and then tried to have a shot in the end. But they're going to show the replay of Jackson. So it's one straight ball from Chalobah over the top. And Jackson, it's in between Van der Ven and Romero. And they kind of leave it to each other. And in the end, Vicario does well. And Van der Ven tries to clear it onto Jackson. And it hits the post. My God. It's a basketball game already. And it looks like Caicedo might be injured. So Jed Spence did brilliantly to get out of pressure in the right-hand corner, his own right-hand corner. And then when he just needs to find an easy pass, he tries one thing too many, which is kind of classic Ange, isn't it? Loses the ball and it leads to nearly another chance. But then we break on the transition. Good play from Udogi. Here comes the corner. Sonny, in-swinger. Oh, terrible corner. Bentancur nearly gets a flick on it at the near post. And then Palmer just clears it straight down the middle. Udogi is going to get it back to Vicario, who's being pressed by Jadon Sancho. So he'll have to go early here. And he goes for the big crossfield ball. Dealt with by Gusto. Cleared out. And the game can slow down for at least a second. But that is just the most classic beginning to a Spurs match ever. It was rustiness from between Romero and Van der Ven. They kind of left it to each other. I think Romero probably thought, because it was a long straight one, that Van der Ven would utilize his pace to deal with it. And in the end, Vicario had to come out. And again, an example there of Jed Spence kicking the ball straight off the pitch, trying to find a pass because Ange is making him do things the hard way. I have to say, there are times away from home where actually it is just better to stick it down the channel. Caicedo, I think, is going to have to come off. Oh, yeah. Sky showing Cucurella's boots, because if you remember, Chelsea conceded 2 goals at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium because he slipped twice, and then only Tottenham from that position, of course. And I was saying, I remember, if you were watching with the watch along with me, I was saying we were 2-0 up, weren't we? And I was like, only Tottenham could fuck this up from here, and we did. And it was a challenge with Jed Spence, very innocuous, that has led to a Caicedo injury here. But the good news is that it's a Chelsea player injured, not a Spurs player injured for once. I'll go into the comments, seeing as there's a bit of a break in play. James Wright says, we always lose this one, so give up hope now. Michael Zeng says, joke defending from our centre-back pairing. And Justin Hall says, get ready for depression. David L says, if players are fit and the minutes aren't redlining them, then they should just play. So this is just a little break in play here. Caicedo. This is kind of broken down the basketball element of the first one. They're just showing this. So the long straight ball, this replay. Long straight ball from Chalobah, and Jackson is in down the middle. And in the end, Vicario comes to the edge of his box, and he does enough. But then Van de Ven is facing his own goal, and he has to try and get a clearance on it, but he tries to clear it kind of the wrong way. He couldn't get his legs sorted. Anyway, the game started again. Caicedo still on the pitch at the moment, and Sanchez plays it out to Chalobah. And that's the difference between Spurs and Chelsea right there. Chalobah chipped it. Instead of trying to play clever football with it, he chipped it over the top. And as a result, now Sancho's in down the left-hand side up against Spence. Whereas Spurs would always try and play a clever ball, a difficult ball when being pressed. Chalobah wasn't afraid to kind of just hit it a bit longer. And that's something that I think Tottenham could do a little bit more. Anyway, Sancho now running at Spence down the left. Spence showing him the outside. Sancho always wants to come inside. To the edge of the box now with Palmer. Spurs in a deep position here. And Chelsea just knocking it around. Find Cucurella now. Plays it inside to Sancho. Back to Caicedo, who still looks very uncomfortable. Cucurella with a chance to cross it here. It's a good cross. Cleared from Van de Ven, but it comes to the edge of the box. Side netting. Shot from Gusto. And I'll tell you what, Vicario wasn't going to make that. And Spurs straight away play it short to Romero. And he plays a ball in between the lines up to Solanke, who holds it up beautifully. And that's good stuff from Spurs. Madders gets an early touch. Into Udogie, who can find Son. And does. And Udogie makes a secondary run. And Neto doesn't go with him. But Son comes inside. I'm not sure he should have done, but gives it to Madders. Some good moments on the ball now. Bentancur's early first touch of the game in the 7th minute there. Madders turns away. To Van de Ven. Oh, he left it for Madders, but a bit of miscommunication there. Bentancur plays it back to Van de Ven, and Chelsea pressing Spurs high. Vicario gives it back to Van de Ven, who plays one in between the lines to Udogie, who's inverted. And Spurs play some good football there, but just lose it. And now Udogie is miles out of position, and Neto has it. And Udogie has to work back. Spurs have had goals in their games more than anyone else in the first 15 minutes of Premier League games this season. There's Chalobah doing well, and then plays a big crossfield ball to Sancho. Really good stuff. Facing up Spence again, and Spence does really well. But again, it breaks to Sancho by the byline now, and Spence needs to get back in position. That was a bit of luck for Chelsea there. He plays the cross in, cleared at the near post by Romero. And good work from Solanke to win a secondary header, and it's a Chelsea throw. 8 minutes gone. Chelsea having most of the possession, as you'd expect. Oh, and they've just played a good ball in between the lines. Palmer picking up some good positions in the 10 at the moment. And Sancho is the player getting a lot of the ball at the moment. Cucurella to Sancho. Spence does well there, and that should be a Spurs throw. And it is. Good stuff from Spence. He started well here, Spence, playing in his natural right-back position. Alan Smith, unfortunately, is the co-commentator on Sky. I hate that. Arsenal through and through. Spence throws it back to Romero, who plays a difficult ball inside to Bentancur, who plays it back to Vicario, whose touch across his own goal is horrible. Oh my God, Vicario just passed it straight to Neto, and Spurs got lucky. But anyway, they play it out as they like to, down the sides. What is Vicario doing? My God. Now Bergvall gets an early touch, driving down the right-hand side. Oh, good stuff from Bergvall. Lovely. Finds Odobert. And Bergvall's there as well. Oh, and Odobert cuts back. Spurs on the ball now with Madders. Comes across to Mickey Van de Ven. Just at the halfway line. Gives it back to Romero. I wonder with that opening chance in the first minute if Van de Ven didn't want to open up his hamstrings so early in the game. Romero drives forward, gives it to Bergvall. And Romero has just gone into the front line. So Bentancur sits in for him for a second. Van der Ven plays it out wide to Udogie. Looks sharp at the moment, Udogie, first few minutes. Son. 10 minutes gone. Half decent start from Spurs, despite the fact Chelsea have hit the post and had some possession around our box. Bentancur now plays it inside to Bergvall, takes up some good spaces, gives it to Odebear. Tottenham knocking about all right here, and Romero just back into the back line. Gives it to Rodrigo. No, he bypasses Bentancur and finds Odebear on the right. Spencer's made a good run for him outside, but instead gives it to Bergvall, who comes back to Bentancur, and we're back with Romero on the halfway line. And this is where Chelsea are happy to press, but Van der Ven works it around the press to James Maddison on the left-hand side. Gives it inside to Udogie. Gives it back to Maddison. Udogie makes a nice run for him. Comes narrow, though, Madders. Into Bentancur. We're moving Chelsea around here. Chelsea will be comfortable, but also good for Spurs players to get some touches on the ball. Poor pass there from Udogie, and it just leads straight away to the transition. And Cole Palmer and Chelsea have a 4-on-3 here. Palmer driving through the middle, gives it to Sancho. He cuts inside. He wants to bend it into the far corner, and that is a corner. And that is the problem with Tottenham Hotspur, I'm afraid. They're trying to play the perfect football in midfield. One bad ball from Udogie, and then basically the whole midfield are bypassed with one pass. This is a Chelsea corner. That is the problem with Ange's football. It shouldn't be that easy. It just shouldn't be that easy. Caicedo still on the pitch, trying to run off this injury. He's on the edge of the box. Chelsea look like they want to go short with this maybe, but no, the referee's getting involved. Some hanky-panky in the middle of the box between Romero, of course. Colwell's in there, Chalobah, Jackson. Spence is involved as well. And Van der Ven is getting pushed a little bit by Jackson. He doesn't like it. And someone's having a word with Spence here, trying to wind him up. There's a lot of arms here. I wouldn't mess with Romero, Colwell. They're trying to wind Romero up, aren't they? They're trying to get him. They're trying to get him to react. You know it. And Enzo's pushing at him. So 12.5 minutes gone. The corner will finally come in. It's still all happening in the box. Spurs just trying to get close to their men. Romero and Colwell literally have their arms around each other. Wonder what the ref's going to do here. Lots of movement. Here it comes. It's a good delivery. Punched. First punch from Vicario. Hits another player in the box, and Chelsea still have it out wide. Udogie does well, but it falls to Enzo. Udogie gets a tap in at the end, but Chelsea still have the ball. Edge of the box now. Being pushed backwards, though. Palmer uses his skills well there and plays a dink to the far post. What the fuck is Vicario doing? The ball literally just flew straight to him and he could have just caught it, and he flies and punches it away. Madness. He's just got to catch that. Yeah. Alan Smith on CoCom saying Vicario flustered after that bad pass he tried to play earlier in the game. And that's probably why he tried to punch it when he could have caught it. Well, Bentancur's got himself in trouble, but actually just broken through. Oh, it's Solanke, sorry, in midfield. Oh, and then he was pickpocketed by Cole Palmer. He actually broke past two players in central midfield there. Oh, well done. A little touch in midfield there. Stop from Bentancur. Stop them getting through on the transition. And now Bentancur plays a cross into the box. Chance! Oh, he's fouled from behind there, Solanke, you know. He's not complaining too much, but looked like a foul from behind in the box. Looked like Solanke, the cross came in from Bentancur. It looked like Solanke was going to have a shot on the kind of volley after a bounce, but not exactly on the half volley, and he was kind of taken out, but we haven't seen a replay of it. Chelsea now with the ball. Colwell. Cucurella. Palmer pushed back by Spence, but turns in nicely. Oh, and then wins a foul just because he stopped Cole Palmer there, but I didn't think it was. Here, they're showing the replay now. Bentancur with the cross. Comes into to Solanke. He's just pushed in the back, really. Never going to be given. It's one of those that would definitely be a foul elsewhere on the pitch. Solanke working hard as ever, pressuring Sanchez. And then Chalobah safely just plays into midfield. Good win from Van de Ven. Oh, Odebear. Odebear, good chance to run now on the right-hand side. Cucurella's getting back, tries the cross, but unfortunately it's blocked. Spurs are getting some opportunities to get into the Chelsea half, but they're not really getting any shots off at the moment. Van de Ven again opens the ball out to Udogie with space to run into, but he goes early to Son, who's one-on-one with Gusto here, and Udogie's outside him. Should give it to Udogie, but he doesn't. Comes inside for Madders, who tries to cross to the far post, but goes straight into Sanchez. The Chelsea fans getting on Sanchez's back, but not getting rid of it early, but he wanted to calm things down a little bit. Cucurella now. Plays it straight into the middle. Oh, lovely from Romero. Oh, Jackson just threw himself to the floor under pressure from Romero. But that was good pressure from Romero. He came all the way into the Chelsea half to follow Jackson. You won't like that pressure. And it was Romero trying to intercept that pass, basically. 16 minutes gone. Still 0-0. Sonny's had a few chances on the left-hand side just to play in Udogie, who's making runs outside him and hasn't made the right decision. Spurs fans making some noise. Oh, Caicedo wins an important header in midfield, and now Enzo's breaking forward. And he's ahead of all three Spurs midfielders. And Romero's been pushed over in the middle of the pitch, and Chelsea have loads of players in the box as a result. Romero took his time to get back, and then just a horrible cross that should go straight out. Oh, no, it stayed into Sancho. Has it? No, it's gone out. That is the problem. Just time and time again, the midfield, nowhere to be seen. Just one pass can break it. Vicario with the ball at his feet. And they're begging for him to play a difficult pass because they know he's not that great with the ball at his feet. But he gives it to Van de Ven, and Van de Ven does play it down the channel. Chalobah wins it. Solanke working. Fernandez goes backwards, and the Chelsea fans get on his back. We need to keep that going. We've seen out the first 15 minutes. We need to keep getting them in positions where the Chelsea fans are going to get on their own team's back because they haven't been in great form this season. Well, not only this form. One long ball over the top of Udogie here, though. He's got to be strong. Up against Neto, and he is. Brilliant, and he was fouled. And he was fouled, ref. Udogie was strong there, and he's fouled. But it's not been given. And now Chelsea have it in centre midfield with Caicedo. Solanke works back to pressure him. Now Cucurella. Lays it outside to Jadon Sancho. One-on-one again with Spence, who's showing him the outside. But Sancho never wants to go out. Oh, but he plays it into Palmer. And it's going to be a goal, surely. Oh, it wasn't a goal somehow. But why is no midfielder chasing Palmer then? That should have been a goal for Chelsea. Nobody tracks Palmer's run. He crosses it. And Enzo was in front of Udogie. And you would have thought he would have got there first, but he missed it. And then Udogie hits him. Anyway, Son is now forward. But it hit Udogie and nearly rolled over the line slowly, but Vicario did it. Van de Ven finds Bergvall. He finds Odebear. He's got Spence outside him, and he does give it to Spence outside him. That stretches Chelsea a bit. Lays it back to Bergvall. Does really well. Beats his man there, Bergvall. Beats two men. Beautiful. He's at the byline now. How's his cross? It's a beautiful cross. Chance Spurs. Oh, Sonny couldn't get it down, Sonny. Oh, that was brilliant from Bergvall. Anyway, Spurs have the ball again in the centre. Van de Ven lays it out wide to Sonny. We need Sonny to play himself into some form. Oh, he tries to play a ball between the lines to Maddison, but couldn't get it. Chelsea really should be one up there. The cross from Palmer comes through Romero's legs. And Fernandez was ahead of Udogie. It's almost like he wasn't quite ready for it to come. But again, just one ball. It was Bergvall and Bentancur, a near Cole Palmer, and neither of them tracked his run to the byline. Really poor. And in the end, it just rolls slowly off Udogie into Vicario's grateful hands on his line. Chelsea playing it out from the back now. Good stuff, actually. And then they play one ball, trying to find it over Spence, but he gets to the header. Cucurella now. Plays it inside to Sancho, fronting up Spence. But that's really good from Odobert. Oh, and then Odobert tries one too many again. And now Chelsea are in down the left-hand side. But Romero sees it. And plays it into Bergvall, who does well. Good football from Spurs. Into Odobert. You've got to find an easy pass here, Wilson. Finds Jed Spence. He plays one between the lines towards Solanke, but it's picked off by Colwill. And now Chelsea have it again with Caicedo. Come on, Spurs. Play yourself into form. Colwill goes back to Sanchez, just outside of his box. Solanke working him. So Sanchez goes for the big long one over the top again to Spence. It's a great pass. Ange Postecoglou on the sideline wanted an offside, but got nothing. And now Caicedo has it again in central midfield. Plays it to Gusto, who's inverted for the second. Gives it to Enzo. Now they're down the right-hand side. Neto plays it to Gusto. Chelsea just working it around in midfield. Cucurella. Just in their own half now, Chelsea. Son forcing them backwards a little bit, but that's a good play around the corner from Gusto. And now Chelsea played a good ball into Jackson. And there were two ahead of him, but good tackle from Romero. And unfortunate, in fact, Van der Ven, where was Van der Ven there? Bentancur was sitting in for him, as was Bergvall. Van der Ven and Romero taking their chances to go into midfield at the moment. But Chelsea have the ball still. It's very easy for Chelsea to get the ball out to Sancho and Palmer, who are staying near each other on the left-hand side pretty regularly. Cucurella to Palmer. Odobert is there. Palmer turns him a couple of times and then kicks the ball off the pitch. And that's a Spurs throw. And Ange Postecoglou is livid on the sidelines at something. You don't see him that angry very often on the sidelines. That's actually quite good to see. Bentancur under pressure there. Plays it back to Romero. Vicario plays it into Bergvall. Spurs trying to play it around. Bentancur, lovely ball. That's actually worked really well. Lovely from Romero. And it was held up by Solanke. And Bentancur gives it out to Odobert, who's now driving. And he tries to cross into the box, and it's just ahead of Solanke. Nice idea, that. Don't foul him there, Wilson. Oh, and Chelsea play the long ball away into Jackson. And they can just play one long ball there, but Spence is near Sancho. Spence is Sancho's shadow at the moment. Comes back to Cucurella. There was some good football played out from Spurs there. But Chelsea finding spaces pretty easy to find. Neto on the right-hand side now. He's coming with the left foot cross to the back post. And two Chelsea players were running at the back post from that cross from Neto. And it was just over their heads, but nobody was following them. How many times this season? My God. Nobody stopped the cross and nobody was following at the back post. Spurs lucky. Vicario out to Van der Ven. Madders is an option. He gives it to Madders, whose first touch takes him back into his own penalty area. So he opens it out to Romero. He's going to need an option. Odebert's there for him, but he's on his own, Odobert, here, and is very lucky to win the ball back as Cucurella tackled him. Romero tries a little dink over the top to Bentancur, and it worked beautifully. Bentancur took it down well. Bergvall is tackled, but does brilliantly to find. He should be. Spurs are in here. Oh, Solanke just can't take a good touch, and Chalobah. Oh, and he's offside anyway. Chelsea start it early. And then the referee got in the way of Bergvall there. Bergvall was literally about to pickpocket a bad pass. Yeah, Palmer's complaining, but honestly, Bergvall will have pickpocketed that pass, and the referee blocked him. It was a bad pass into midfield, and Bergvall was about to pick it off, and Spurs would have been on the transition. And then Chelsea get the ball back again. I saw someone on social media say how the refereeing in these games is always so bad for Spurs. It's another bad one. Poor touch from Cucurella there means he has to go long down the line. Romero takes it down and goes back to Vicario. He's being pressed. Just go long, Vic. But he doesn't, and instead he kicks it to Romero, and it goes straight off the pitch. Vicario is wobbling a bit. It's making, it's just the ball's flying off his foot, shanking it all the time. He keeps having to apologize. Don't apologize, mate. Just stop doing it. Just do it easy. He could have just cleared that ball. He was under pressure, so just whack it up the pitch, mate. Sorry to sound like a boomer, guys, but away sometimes you just have to deal with it. Anyway, Cucurella plays it inside into Caicedo, to Sancho. Good pressure from Bergvall. That's a Chelsea throw. Bergvall's working really hard this first half. 1,700 of you watching concurrently, guys. Thank you so much for the support. Please do press this please do press like on this video on YouTube or wherever you're watching if you haven't already. Sanchez clears it with a long one. There again, the difference between Spurs and Chelsea. Oh my God, Mickey van der Ven just got himself in all sorts of trouble. I think it was a long straight ball over the top of him, and I think he wanted to start by playing it back to Vicario, and then it went further than he expected. Nearly dropped over his head. Jackson would have been in. Anyway, Chelsea now have it in midfield with Cucurella. Spurs just look a little bit shaky and lacking confidence. Not a huge surprise. Oh, Sancho beats Spence on the inside, but a good tackle from Bentancur. It comes to Cucurella. Everything that Spurs tackle at the moment is bouncing back to Chelsea. Comes out to Neto. You know he's going to want to cross it on his left foot. Yeah, he brings it back to his left foot. Comes to Gusto now. And now to Chalobah, who's high. Gives it out to Neto again. Who wants the right foot cross this time and makes it. And it's a free header, and it comes all the way to Sancho at the back. Lays it to Cucurella, who dinks it to the back post. And Udogie heads it out for a corner. Again, too easy. I swear, any team who plays Spurs, they just know to get crosses into the box because Tottenham cannot and do not mark runners. So Sancho for this corner. Sancho and Cucurella are around Vicario. So we're back to this game where someone's going to try and block him off. And then they've got Chalobah, Colwill, and Jackson being man-marked by Spence, Van der Ven, and Romero. With Udogie there as well because Enzo's around. And that's where all the pushing and pulling is happening. You know they're going to try and drop this onto Vicario's head. Here it comes. Vicario's got to be strong, and it goes over everybody. And that's a goal kick to Spurs. Van der Ven is on the goal kick, so gives it to Vicario. He has it in his 6-yard box. And Chelsea are very happy for Vicario to do this. And he plays a horrible ball into Udogie, who's fouled from behind by Enzo. Tottenham's commitment to playing this style of dangerous football is impressive, but also it's just like, imagine being a player for the opposition or the opposition crowd. You just know that, already Vicario's kicked it once straight to Neto trying to do this. And you love to see it, don't you? You love to see it as an opposition player or opposition fan, opposition manager. You're like, they're going to keep dicking it around their own 18-yard box. Like, Vicario just gave a ball to Udogie. Udogie had Enzo right in his back. Udogie didn't want that. There's no way he wanted it. In the end, he's lucky to get a foul, which gets Spurs out of trouble. And this time, Vicario goes long with it. And it comes straight up to Solanke, who actually could have got that ball down. Now Romero's under pressure from Jackson, gets pushed in the back. That's too easy. And Spence is not strong enough. And as a result, Jackson has it in the box and bends it over the bar. Terrible defending from Spurs. You can't tell me that Romero would let that happen. It's one straight ball over the top. Romero lets it bounce and then lets Jackson bully him. He wouldn't let that happen for Argentina. And Vicario goes long again, which I don't mind. And as a result, Spurs actually have the ball in the halfway line. And Udogie's driving forward. Good lad. Oh, and then unfortunately passes it behind Son. It's a throw-in. I'm afraid that Spurs are falling into how we've been a lot of the season here, lacking confidence and rhythm, I would say, as Van der Ven just plows through the back of Jackson there. And that's a foul to Chelsea midfield. Lacking confidence and rhythm. None of the patterns are working. And Chelsea are on top. But half an hour gone and it's still 0-0. Odegaard pressing Cucurella, plays it inside to Gusto's inverted. Son is not in this game at the moment at all. And there's always a man extra in midfield for Chelsea just because their movement is better. Cucurella now to Cole Palmer, inside left position. He plays a good ball into Jackson's feet, who holds it up well and turns Van der Ven, who gets an important tackle in. And then Bergvall isn't strong enough in a 50-50. And Palmer outside the box now. Someone's got to... we won the ball there, Vicky Van der Ven. The ref doesn't give a foul. And Van der Ven's opening his legs here. Oh, and then he's tackled in midfield. And Spurs now on the transition. Van der Ven's out of it. Sancho on the left-hand side, driving at Spence. Oh, plays it to Palmer. And actually, that's good defending from Spurs. And it's a corner. And Palmer, as ever, complaining about something. What's he complaining about here? Oh, yeah, the fact that he wanted a foul outside the box. But Van der Ven did get the ball, and Palmer just threw himself to the ground right outside the box. Pathetic. He got the ball. Oh, of course, Alan Smith thinks it's a foul. Arsenal legend. 31 minutes gone. Another corner to Chelsea. They're racking them up. Feels like it's coming at the moment, guys, I'm afraid to say. Fernandez taking this one as an in-swinger. Here it comes. All the way to the back post. Chance for Chelsea. Lay it back, and Spurs to Odegaard now. Chance on the break for Odegaard to open his legs. Can you run the whole length of the pitch, though, Wilson? He's going to have to, but he puts in Udogie, who's with him on the left-hand side. He tried to do a chop back like Ronaldo, and now he's laying on the floor. Sometimes you just got to keep the ball, mate. And now Chelsea have a transition. Oh, no, Bergvall just made a terrible decision midfield, but fortunately it's broken to Spence. He plays it down the channel to Odegaard, who might get there ahead of Colwill. He does. Uses his pace well, and he holds it up this time. Needs help. Plays it inside to Bergvall. He's in a good position. Driving at the box here, Lucas Bergvall. Opens it onto his left foot. Has a dig, and it's blocked. But that was good from Bergvall. And Fernandez just opens it out as Spurs leave themselves 3-on-2. And Neto beats Udogie, but then Udogie does well. But it breaks to Fernandez in midfield. And Bergvall and Odegaard too tired to get back here. And Sancho's in the box, driving inside as always, trying to get his shot off, chops back, and well defended by Bentancur. Now Odegaard's on his own and has to just kick it out and does the right thing. Caicedo now, central midfield. Good advert for the Premier League, this, in terms of 0-0s. Basketball game. Neto on the right-hand side, pushed backwards. Maddison, James Maddison, not in this game at the moment at all, really. It's bypassing him and Sonny. Odegaard is getting on the ball. Bergvall's trying to make things happen. Solanke now pressing Colwill. Romero tackles it. Should be a Spurs throw, this. Yeah, I think it's a Spurs throw. But no, the ref and the linesman bottle it. It's a Chelsea throw. We need to get Madders on the ball. I wouldn't mind him coming deeper. Yeah, they're just showing fewest touches. Solanke, Son, Maddison with the fewest on the pitch. Wouldn't mind seeing Madders come a bit deeper to get the ball off his back line and get into this game. He's just jogging around a bit at the moment. Oh, Bergvall does really well. He nicks the ball ahead of Palmer, but unfortunately then slips over. And he slipped again there. Unlucky, but good reading of the game from Lucas. 34 minutes gone. Solanke again. Trigger for the press. Udogie a bit late on the press, and it comes through midfield. And everything that's 50-50, second balls, all going to Chelsea at the moment. And you'd have to say that's probably because they're showing a little bit more energy and desire. Sancho, again, running inside. Bergvall fronts him up well, but it comes out to Cucurella. They're in the box here. Good block from Bergvall. Odegaard now gets it. Gives it back to Bergvall, who lays it out to Spence, but he's got nothing on him and ends up back heeling it to Sancho in the box. And Bentancur saves him. What was Spence trying there? I have no idea. Romero plays it into Solanke, who's pushed from behind. Romero on the ball now. He's looking for options in midfield. Yeah, Madders for the first time just seen drop into central midfield there to give Romero an option, and he gets it off Romero. Takes it on the half turn, gives it into Odegaard, gives it back to Madders and to Bentancur. They're all quite close to each other here, and that's beautiful from Bentancur to Madders, and that's worked in central midfield. And Odegaard gives it back to Maddison. That's the best yet. And Maddison finds Sonny, and I've been calling for that, and it's worked. Sonny now driving at gusto. Goes to the byline. Good stuff. Across the box. Oh, and it nearly fell to Jed Spence. And it's come to Bentancur outside the box. Madders on the edge now. Pushed off the ball and fouled. Oh, but the ref hasn't given it. Frick. Spurs win it back with Udogie. That was the best bit of play from Spurs because Maddison came deep and broke it all. And now Son has Udogie outside and play it to him. He does. Udogie's at the byline. Cross it. And it's a corner. Best bit of play from Spurs in the whole game. First one where the cross came across the box from Son, very nearly found Jed Spence right in there as he needs to be at the back post. Anyway, it's a corner to Spurs now. Loads of players in the 6-yard box. Sonny, we don't score from set pieces. This would be a good time to break it. Here it comes from Sonny, straight on Sanchez's head. He gets a good fist on it. Comes out to Odegaard. Gives it to Son. He tries the cross here, Son. It's deflected and cleared. And Spence is in a race here now with Sancho. They've been with each other all game. And Sancho now facing his own goal, but Cucurella has far too much time. And Romero is the one. Is it Romero? Was it Ben? No, it's Solanke, sorry. And that's right. Solanke wins it off, and Spurs have won it off Enzo. Can he find Madders? He does. Madders has got some space in the 10 position here. Oh, and then plays a horrible pull to Son. And as a result, Udogie is totally out of the game, and Chelsea are on the transition. And Van der Ven, brilliant strength. Brilliant shoulders from Van der Ven on Jackson. He just went down like a sack of spuds. I love that. Spurs have it back with Madders, who's coming deeper now. I like this. We were being kind of, I said earlier, didn't I? It always feels like Chelsea have an extra man in midfield. So that's why I like Madders coming in and dropping in. And when we have the ball, that enabled us to open it out to Sonny. And it led to that passage of play where we had two classic Ange ball opportunities. Romero now out wide to Van der Ven. Ball just bobbling a bit, so he takes a touch. Looking for an option inside, but goes outside to Udogie, who finds Sonny. Good first touch on the half turn. Takes him in narrow. And then finds Solanke. Lovely stuff. And we're in down the left here with Maddison. Chance. Cuts it back. And he tried to cut it back to Solanke. And do you know what? I'm not sure he should have done, but he was offside anyway. And he shouldn't have been offside either. But that was more good play from Spurs down the left. And just those few passages of play from Spurs have just quietened the crowd a little bit for a second. Ball comes into Palmer. Bergvall pressing him. Don't foul him, Lucas. Does well. Makes him go back to Cucurella. Chelsea using their body positions well. Oh, then Caicedo just jives on the floor, wins a free kick off Maddison, and I don't think it was either. Maddison really complaining about it. .39 minutes gone, 0-0. Comes back to Sanchez. Solanke, as ever, working hard. Sonny trying to press Chalobah. Go around to Gusto. Chelsea just trying to knock it around now, and Sanchez has to go long. Just goes over the head of Spurs midfield, but a good win by Van der Ven. It comes back to Madders. He drops it into Bentancur. Who can you find? He finds Odegaard, and Spence is on his bike. Comes in narrow for him. Goes back to Odegaard on the right-hand side now. Comes back to Bentancur in midfield. And Chelsea with Jackson pushes back. So Romero drops it into Bentancur. This will end up going back to Vicario. That's a shame. And now Vicario calling for options. Van der Ven is giving him one. Gets it on the half turn. Needs an option. But instead uses his pace to drive through and then drops it back to Bergvall, who goes outside of the boot. Lovely to Destiny Udogie, who can now drive forward. He'll find Son, but then Udogie will get outside him. And this has worked for us before, but Udogie doesn't go all the way because of the high line. So Sonny has to stop and wait. Goes to Udogie. Madders is near him. Oh my God, that was just schoolboy stuff as Udogie, even though the game had basically stopped where Chelsea kept their line, just for a 3-yard pass, finds himself offside. Really poor. It's not there, Chelsea. It's miles back. It's actually on the edge of your own box because that's where you keep your high line. Okay, free kick taken and goes back to Sanchez again. Solanke trying to cut off the pass, the easy pass for him. Cross fields it to Cucurella. Odegaard presses him to go backwards. Bergvall as well. Good pressure, and he has to go long over the top. Oh, and Romero's got to be careful here. And plays a little... I mean, it's a great pass in the end, outside of his boot on the half volley to Van der Ven to get himself out of trouble, but a mixture of bravery and... Yeah, well, let's just call it bravery. Anyway, Van der Ven into midfield. Madders drops it back to him and goes out wide to Destiny. Because Madders is dropping back a bit, it's moving Fernandez a little bit around, which is helping Spurs. Bentancur now. He's done all right this half, Bentancur. Madders. Nice ball down the line to Son. And Udogie is in down the left here. And here he is. And he goes for the early cross. And Odegaard coming in. Cucurella does well. Comes out to Son. Needs to find someone and does. Good stuff from Spurs. Van der Ven into Madders. Like I said now, getting the ball off his centre halves. And it's working for Spurs. Good ball from Bentancur to Udogie on the left. Spence has made a run into the left forward position. But he's not found, so it opens up now with Van der Ven. We're on the halfway line to Romero. Spence out of position, so Odegaard is on his own here. He needs to keep it, and he nearly loses it, Odegaard. Be careful here, Wilson. Finds Bentancur, who's tackled by Palmer. Oh, I've just said Bentancur's playing well. He might have to take a yellow card here, but he doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't, and Chelsea are in. Udogie did well to get his body back, and it comes to Enzo outside the box. Now, Tottenham have done well to get bodies back here. But don't concede to the second chance as it comes to Gusto. And Chelsea just setting it up now to try and get a cross in towards the far post. Neto puts his head up. He's looking to see who's there. Facing up Son. Madders is also there. And this is where the cross will come from Gusto. No, he plays it short inside. It comes back to Chalobah. Now to Caicedo, central midfield. And Spurs pushing them back a bit. Solanke working hard. 43 minutes gone. Enzo. And now Tottenham back in a deep block. Or a mid-block, really. Mid to deep block. Caicedo. Out wide, and Fernandez is in behind, but it's not found by Neto. Now he's found, and now Neto is in, getting to the byline, crosses it. Bergvall gets ahead on the first one. Comes to Caicedo. Solanke's wrong side here. Yeah, and Caicedo does well. Finds Sancho out wide left. Fronting up Odegaard. Colwill. Chalobah. Moving Spurs around, out wide to Neto again. And here comes the setup for the cross. First time cross from Gusto. Nobody attempting to block that cross. Cleared from Tottenham. But that is the way that every team Spurs play set us up. Get it out wide. Play it back for the first time cross or a touch and a cross. And we don't mark up. We're back with Neto now. He's going to try and get a left foot cross in again. Here it comes to the back post. Free head. Sancho totally free. And Vicario has made an unbelievable save. But Chelsea had 2 men free at the back post. It's an unbelievable save. But I was literally talking you through the phases of that. Literally what was going to happen. And that is because of Ange Postecoglou. And I'm sorry, Australian fans or fans of Ange Postecoglou. That is why he's going to lose his job. Because if I can see it every single game, and if I can see it as it's happening, then all the oppositions are seeing it. Corner taken. And again, Gusto with a free cross. Bergvall gets something on it, but it comes to the back post. Van der Ven is pushed off the ball there and Spurs win a free kick. Romero pushes someone off the ball there. And this is Chelsea trying to wind Romero up. They're all getting at him. Chalobah seems to be really going for him. So Chelsea massively tried to wind Romero up. It's calmed down now. Romero gets a booking. So who else is going to get a booking for Chelsea? It should be Chalobah, I would have thought. Yeah. And he's complaining about it. Romero is still complaining. He needs to shut up. Bergvall getting in the way of Romero, which is clever. Maddison there as well. Yeah, Dom moving Romero away. Good thinking. Fernandez complains. So let's see what happens here. Van der Ven was strong in the tackle, wins a free kick. Then Romero tries to win the ball, tries to get the ball off Colwill. Colwill throws himself to the ground. And then Chalobah just stupidly gets involved over nothing. But that has worked for Chelsea because they've got Romero booked now. That's what they will have wanted. So 2 added minutes. And we're in, basically, we've had 2 of them already. It'll be interesting to see whether stuff gets added on for that. Vicario goes long. Don't mind that. Up towards the lanky. Tries to use his muscle. And that's, see, that's why sometimes switching it up is a good idea because it flicks off Colwill's head, goes off for a Spurs throw, and we've got good possession territory. Spencer's going to take the throw. It doesn't always have to be pretty, dangerous. Bergvall. Spence throws it down the line to Odebear, who's under pressure here. Cucurella plays it off Odebear for a Chelsea throw. Romero really got worked there. Colwill threw himself to the ground when Romero tried to grab the ball. Then kind of like a fake melee, basically designed to wind Romero up, and he gets the booking. And it'll probably work against Spurs in the second half, you would have thought. Romero will probably get himself sent off. Oh my God, he's just given a free kick against Maddison for nothing. Chelsea players just throwing themselves to the ground. So embarrassing. Oh, and then Enzo goes with the first time one over the top, but Udogie saw it. And he wants Vicario with him. And in the end, Udogie heads it back to Vicario, who throws it straight to him. Don't give it away now, boys. We're literally up for half time. And I think Udogie smartly goes backwards to Van der Ven, who lays it across to Romero. Might be a time to, yeah, he chips into midfield up to Solanke, who was fouled in midfield, but not given, of course. And then Bentancur tries to find Spence, but it's a bit heavy and goes off for a throw. But that chance for Sancho, it's an unbelievable save from Vicario, but the fact that every time they have men over at the back post, I cannot tell you how embarrassing it is. And another straight ball over the top now from Chelsea, goes straight through to Vicario. I imagine that'll be half time because we played 4 minutes of the added 2 here because of that melee. Vicario plays it straight into midfield into Madders. And that is half time. Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. It is without a doubt that Spurs are tighter at the back when Romero and Van der Ven are playing together. But I have to say it's a low bar because despite them, you know, making us a lot tighter, we still concede the same chances time and time again. And I'm sorry, but it is why Ange Postecoglou will lose his job. It's impossible to see how we're going to win the Europa League when every team in the Europa League will be analysing Spurs the same way that all the Premier League teams analyse Spurs. Get the ball out wide, often wide right. Set Spurs up so they're on their line on the 18-yard box. Play it back to your fullback or your central midfielder, one touch or first time. Deliver it to the back post. And Ange Postecoglou has no interest whatsoever in asking his wide forwards to help his fullbacks out and get in and mark at the back post. So about 3 or 4 times in this half, Chelsea have had 2 men over at the back post, and it's only Chelsea's lack of form, frankly, and probably a bit of a lack of confidence that has not led them to score goals from the back post all the time. Spurs have not made any gilt-edged chances. They've got to the byline a few times. That is the best I can say about it. But it's 0-0, and whilst it's still 0-0, you just never know. I'll get into the comments in a minute, but here's what happened kind of minute by minute during that first half. First minute, classic Spurs under Ange, basketball. One straight ball over the top. Jackson is in between Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven. I think Romero assumed van der Ven would put on the afterburners, but maybe van der Ven rightly was like, I'm not gonna stretch out and sprint fully in that first minute while I'm not warmed up fully. And Jackson is then faced with Vicario on the 18-yard box. Kind of, they're only about a yard or two away from each other. Vicario gets something on it, and then van der Ven is basically facing his own goal, and in trying to clear it, it hits Jackson and hits the post. Then, on transition, just straight afterwards, Son is in down the left after Udogie did really well to intercept a pass, and that resulted in a Spurs corner that led to nothing. Caicedo looked injured in the 4th minute, but he's played on, so it'd be interesting to see if he comes out from the second half, but he was taking a long time to jog that one off. 6th minute, good pressure from Chelsea led through a shot from Gusto, their fullback, who's been very involved in the game, playing inverted a lot. He was just around the 18-yard box or just further out, and it's a good strike, hit the side netting. If it had been inside the post, no way Vicario was getting to that. 9th minute, Vicario. Chelsea setting traps for Vicario throughout the first half. They are very comfortable with him having it in his own box, knowing that he will try and play mad chipped balls over their pressers. And in the 9th minute, he kicked it straight to Pedro Neto. And we were incredibly lucky that it kind of bounced off him and he didn't control it, because otherwise it would have been an easy goal for Chelsea. 10th minute, I've just written one bad ball from Udogie in midfield. And all it takes from Chelsea is one pass, and they had a 4-on-3. Sancho got the ball on the left. He's had a lot of the ball on the left-hand side. And every time Spence is showing him the outside, and he has no interest. He wants to cut inside where the bodies are. And that is why his shot, where he's trying to bend it into the far corner, was deflected for a corner. 13th minute, some more madness from Vicario, who in that first 20 minutes looked very shaky indeed. He came for a cross that was very easy for him to catch. And I think because of that poor pass and some of that madness, he did a mad punch and it fell to Chelsea again. But frankly, we got away with it again. 14th minute looked at first glance like a foul on Solanke in the box. Nothing was given in the box. It was a push in the back. One of those ones where if it was outside the box, absolutely for sure, it would have been a foul, but not in the box. So obviously nothing given. 16th minute, I've just made a note that time and time again, Spurs midfielder caught ahead of the ball, and just one ball from Chelsea breaks through all of them. Whenever Spurs lose the ball, trying to, play it perfectly round the corner in the forward third, Chelsea just pick it off, one pass, and they're at us. 18th minute, Chelsea should have been one up. Palmer, untracked. Sancho had the ball, and then Palmer just made a run, untracked from deep, and he's totally free at the byline on the left-hand side. His cross goes through Romero's legs, and Enzo Fernandez is in front of Udogie and should have just tapped it in, but didn't get anything on it. And as a result, it hits Udogie and rolls slowly over towards the goal line, and Vicario gratefully pounces on it. Then, 19th minute, Lucas Bergwall started getting into the game. He's been one of our most impressive players in my eyes. Brilliant from him as he beat 2 men down the right, got a cross in, and Sonny, who's barely been in the game, it comes to him, and he should have just controlled it and got a shot off. But a poor touch leads to nothing, unfortunately. 22nd minute, they cut to Ange Postecoglou on the sidelines. He was pretty livid about something, which is good to see because he's usually so absolutely quiet on the bench. And then 23rd minute, some good football from Spurs. But then Neto with a cross to the back post just over the top of 2 free Chelsea men. And that was like one of many occasions. 26th minute, again, too easy for Chelsea to have 3 men in the box from crosses. 28th minute, terrible defending from Spurs. One straight ball over the top. Romero let Jackson bully him. He let it bounce first, big mistake. Then he lets him bully him and kind of push him off the ball. And I've just made a note. I said it at the time. Christian Romero is a great player, but he wouldn't let any striker bully him if he was playing for Argentina. He just wouldn't. He plays 5% or 10% less interested for Spurs. He really does. nothing came of it, but I genuinely believe that. 32nd minute, I've just written basketball for a few minutes. Bergvall got in a good position and opened it out onto his left-hand side and had a shot, and that was blocked in the box. 36th minute, though, the best phases from Spurs twice in a row. And it all came from something I was calling for, which was Madders getting more involved in the game, dropping deep to get the ball off his back four and off his goalkeeper. And as a result, that opened some space up for Son, who got in with Udogie down the left to the byline. The cross nearly found Spence at the back post or Solanke for a tap-in. 37th minute, a lovely moment as Van der Ven showed his strength on Nicholas Jackson. It would have been a one-on-one, but Van der Ven just got in shoulders and knocked him off the ball. 38th minute, some more good play down the left from Spurs. That was our kind of best period between 35th and 40th minute. And then the big moment of the half, 44th minute, once again, Jed Spence left at the back post with two players. He went with Cucurella, and it beat both of them, falls to Sancho, who's only 9 yards out, and he tries to bury it in the roof of the net, and an unbelievable save on his line from Vicario tips it over the bar. And then in the 45th minute, an absolute nothingness as Spurs win a free kick outside their own box, foul on Van der Ven. Romero tries to get it going quickly, goes to grab the ball off Colwill, who throws himself to the ground. Chelsea players have been throwing themselves to the ground all game. They're just trying to get Spurs players booked and sent off, and unfortunately they played Romero here because it leads to a big melee. Romero gets booked for pretty much nothing. Chalobah gets booked for getting involved as well. And that was the end of the half. So Tottenham, as ever over the last few months, just lacking rhythm, lacking confidence, but they're still in this game, and that is the key. And there were just some phases where they got some Ange ball going. But I have to say at the moment, it seems like there's really no chance whatsoever that Tottenham won't concede a goal in this game because there's just so much space at the back post time and time again. The things that are really working for Chelsea, straight balls over the top from the keeper or the centre-back with Romero and Van der Ven letting it drop over their heads. And then, like I said, the setup for the crosses from one side where Spurs have no interest in trying to block crosses, and it always comes to the back post and free shots. So you would bet on goals in the second half for the likes of Sancho or Neto, or maybe even Gusto from that right-back position, or Nicholas Jackson. Guys, if you are watching, there are nearly 3,000 of you watching concurrently. Thank you so much for your support. Please do press like on this video, wherever you are, especially on YouTube. The more likes we get, the more Spurs fans this will get shown to. I'll take you through the itinerary for the night again. I'll be doing the second half of this watch-along when the game kicks off again, and then I'll do a post-match reaction video straight away. After that, it'll be the fan show where I speak to Tottenham fans from all around the world, grab their thoughts on what they think about the game. If you want to be if you want to have a chance to speak to me after a future fan show, after a future match on the fan show, email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com, and Chris will get you involved to talk to me after one of these games. And then after the fan show at about 11 o'clock, the Spurs Chat podcast will be back, hosted by Craig Dearman. So much Spurs content on Chris's channel tonight. He's also at the game and is posting content throughout the evening, so keep an eye out for that. Let's get into the comments, though. Jack Legros, thank you for your comment. Says, every game we are poor, it's just unacceptable. Silence, thank you for your comment. Says, we play attacking football with an attacking manager, yet we hardly have any shots on goal. That is true. There is no rhythm or confidence for Spurs at the moment. Patch Thomas, I'll agree with this. I think Bergvall and Spence are playing well. Spence is trying maybe a little bit too much at times, but he's being asked to do that by the manager. But I would say that mad back heel he did that just went straight to Chelsea in our own box was quite mad. Fifth Pint says, the silver lining is that there's not much further down to go before we find the bottom. I mean, I have to say, it is fortunate, isn't it, that there are 3 teams in this league who are absolute dross. Speaking of that, let's have a quick look at what's... oh, no, there are no other Premier League games happening tonight. It's just this one at the moment. Stephen Morley says, still suffering from a lack of possession. Jack Legros says, did we have a meaningful shot on target? No, we haven't made the keeper work, have we? It's been pretty comfortable for Chelsea, but we are a bit tighter at the back. Scribble Scrabble says, Madders has been very quiet tonight. He had a very quiet first 25 minutes, but I did like how in the last 15 minutes or so, he started dropping in to get on the ball. I wonder if that's a decision he's made himself, and actually Ange Postecoglou had said to him prior, don't do that, stay up so we have an option in the final third. But we were just getting outrun in midfield. And the first time he did it, he got the ball, played some good stuff in midfield with Bentancur and Bergvall, and then opened the ball out to Sonny, and it led to our best phase of play. Adrian Tierney says, how can anyone defend this shite week after week? Who is defending it? Is anyone defending it, really? 7-11 Evan, maybe you are. He says, it's the rebuild, guys. It's the injuries. It's the wind. It's the pitch. It's the fans. It's the media. When will the excuses end? Yeah, I think you're not defending him after all, or defending any of this football. Look, I'm going to try and go for some positive. The night is darkest before the dawn. So who knows? You never know. But Silence agrees with me. Our back post is always empty, no marking. And those of you who regularly watch these watch-alongs with me will just hear me endlessly bang on about it. Endlessly bang on about it. Gary says, I'm not too sure what the answer is. Maybe it's a combination of the squad, the manager, and Levy. Of course it is. Of course it is. And also us fans. We have to take some responsibility too, because, you know, sometimes when we go to the Spurs stadium, we're not there tonight. Obviously, it's a away game, but sometimes we have an entitlement and an expectation, and it leads to pressure for the players as well. Jack says, Tottenham are not in rebuild. They're in demolition mode. It's just awful. Scribble Scrabble says, they keep hitting the ball over the top. We never do this. We try to thread the ball through a wall of blue shirts. I agree with that. And I was saying, wasn't I, during that half, sometimes it's just important to play it into the channel. And we did at least a couple of times do that. And actually, it led to some possession at times. Ruba, yeah, thank you for your comment. Says, hi, Barnaby. What substitutions would you like to see in the half time? Do you still believe that we can get the 3 points? I wouldn't make any subs yet. I really wouldn't. Do I still believe that we can get the 3 points? I believe that we can, mainly on the basis that Chelsea are not in great form either, but I don't think we will. I don't think we will. Patch says the ref lost control of the game in the first 5 minutes. He's not been great, the ref. I don't really know what he's going for, but seemingly every 50-50 goes to Chelsea, but I don't know. Adrian says, and people on here think we'll win the Europa League. My God, we are shite. A lot of negativity, it's fair to say. Listen, we are playing a half-decent team. They're not in great form, but what Yo-Yo says in the comments here is so true. It's so easy for teams to cut right through us. Through the middle, from the flanks, they just glide through the midfield. It's totally true. Scribble Scrabble says, Spence, great again. The rest just getting dominated. Nice ball in from Bergville. Best moment of the game for us so far. We're just not looking threatening at all. Gary says, Barnaby sums it up perfectly. Everybody knows how we will play. That's totally true. And Adrian says 18 days rest for that shite. TSOM says the squad is awful. Great future potential for the now. We're not good. John Lancaster hopes that Mikey Moore is given a chance second half. I personally don't think this is the time to throw in a 17-year-old kid and hope for some bit of genius. I think he'll get muscled off the ball in a game like this. I really do. SH says it's getting harder to justify. Harmick agrees with the previous comment and people think we'll win the Europa. Gary says the tactics are non-existent. That's down to Ange. Oh, one side's going to go well. One against Bergville there. Bergville on the attack was pain for my eyes. I think Bergville's been one of our better players, to be totally honest. Zealous says can't string two passes together. 7-11 says we have good players mostly in a good squad. While some players are young, this is largely on the lack of management. Embarrassing. I guess the big question is, guys, you know, those managers who are being linked with us, the likes of Thomas Frank, Areola, Marco Silva, what would they change? What would they make different? I think they would be just a little bit more pragmatic at different times and try and realize, oh, they're just showing a stat. Shots on target fewest in the first half this season. The third time for Spurs, we've had none versus Villa, one other, and Chelsea tonight. I did talk about it, didn't I, in the opening? Tottenham not having shots on target. And if you remember, in the latter days of Nuno, I think we went 5 games without having a shot on target, and that was the death of him. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think the players are playing for Ange still? Do you think they're playing for Ange still? I think they kind of are, but do I really see like an absolute full strength desire going into 50-50s? I don't, and that's why it feels like every 50-50 the ball is dropping to Chelsea because they're quicker on the second ball. They want it more. So I do think there's a bit of a drop-off, and I've said it a few times as the players come out on the pitch. I've said it a few times in recent games. Watching Spurs at the moment is like watching Man United over the past few years when the pundits, every time at halftime and full-time, they show clips of Manchester United as they kind of jog around defensively. And that's kind of what Spurs are doing at the moment. They don't show the desire or the belief. But 0-0. I'm pretty confident we are going to lose this game. But you never know. Could we nick a goal and find some confidence and put Chelsea under pressure? Let's see what happens. Pat says, not sure that Romero is playing for Ange. I think Romero is playing for Romero without his head on. Justin is a little bit more blatant. Says, the players are utter shit. Simple as that. Van der Ven, Spence, Bergville, the only ones who are decent. Moldy Pickle says, I believe the players are giving their all for these kind of games. You have to be. I do feel a lack of belief in how they're being asked to play, however. Yeah, I think that's a good times. And 711 says, despite being a headless chicken, sometimes I miss Højbjerg. Yeah. I honestly don't think, looking back, the way we treated Højbjerg and Dyer was good enough. But there you go. Anyway, the game has started again, so I'm going to come out of the comments, and Sanchez plays it long. Early headed win for Van der Ven up towards Sonny, who's not really been in this game, has he? Be interesting to see if Ange makes any decisions on that front. Chelsea get the ball down in central midfield. No changes at half-time. Been impressed with Gusto this half for Chelsea. Plays a good mix of inverted and then defensively staying out wide. Solanke again cutting off passes for Sanchez. So he goes long, straight over the top. Spence wins the first one. I think he was hoping for an offside flag there, but of course we don't get it. And so Chelsea get the ball back. Cucurella finds Colwill into midfield by Gusto, who's under pressure from Maddison now. Maddison is kind of jogging about a little bit. Palmer on the left, fronted up by Bergvall. Easy in central midfield to Gusto there. And now to Fernandez, who's totally free. So plays it out wide to Neto, who's fronting up one-on-one against Udogie. Son does try and come back and at least get a body in between. Udogie does well to push Neto back and then gives away a foul. Unnecessary from Udogie. Totally unnecessary. Just totally unnecessary. They're not going anywhere. So Chelsea have an opportunity to throw this into the box if they want. It's about 40 yards out. And they are throwing players forward. Udogie just showing some naivety there. Because the Chelsea player was facing his own goal, going back towards the halfway line. And Udogie's trying to nip at his heels. And you know the player's going to dive on the floor. Now just put ourselves under unnecessary pressure. Fernandez dinks it up towards the back post. Oh, and a slip from Solanke in the box nearly leads to it falling to a Chelsea player, but Spence clears it from deep. And Odeberg getting on his bike, putting pressure on Gusto, I think. But he plays it back to Sancho, and now Enzo gets it off Sancho. Sorry, not Sancho. And Enzo plays a ball to Cucurella, who just clears it first time. And it falls to Jackson. That's too easy, but he was offside. Okay, that's okay. And Romero again trying to get the ball quickly. Jackson getting in his way. Just that could have been a dangerous slip for Solanke from that free kick, but it came to nothing. Will Spurs have the ball by the time that replay finishes? We often don't, but it's a free kick to Romero. He's looking for an option. Well, Jackson is right next to him there. That was so mad. Oh, heavy touch from Bergvall, but he keeps the ball well in midfield. Like, we had a free kick, and Jackson was like 3 yards away from Romero, and the referee doesn't say anything. And Romero tries to play a ball in between the lines to Solanke, but it's easily picked off by Gusto. So I'm pressing him now, pushing him backwards to Chalobah. Spurs trying to get a big press on, but Chelsea just finding it quite easy to knock it around us here. Cucurella now goes down the line over the top. And Spence does well. Was it offside? No. Sancho timing his runs quite well for those balls over the top. Chelsea have all the possession this half so far. Cole Palmer, big switch over to Neto. He's got an option ahead of him there. Fernandez is with him. Plays it inside to Gusto. Into Caicedo. He looked like he was injured early, but he's run that off. Good touch from Chalobah. You can't believe that they gave Chalobah away on loan. Now he's like one of their best defenders. Fernandez on around the halfway line on the right. Plays it into Neto. Tries to take Udogie around the corner. So much time for Caicedo, who just plays the big diag out to Sancho now. And Odeberg's got to go and help Spence. They play it inside to Palmer in the box. He's going to have a shot. Turns. It's on his left-hand side now. Now has a shot. Saved at the near post from Vicario. Now Spence tries to control it in his own box. Spence actually does well, but then gives it away. What are we doing? And Chelsea now back in the box with Sancho. Fronting up all the Spurs players. Goes backwards. Cross comes in. Free header, goal. And of course it comes from a cross. Fernandez. And he just had a free header in the box. That's why you're going to lose your job, Ange. I'm afraid it's too easy. So Chelsea, Spence gave it away when he should have cleared it. Chelsea in the box, lay it back out to Cucurella, gets it out wide to Palmer. Nobody tries to stop the cross. He just dinks it. And in between Udogie and Van de Ven, Fernandez just so embarrassing. It's a free header from 4 yards. Just embarrassing. Just totally embarrassing. And now Tottenham could end up getting dicked here. It's what happens if you don't try and stop crosses at the source. Goals are going to get scored. Just so embarrassing, honestly, being a Spurs fan at the moment. It's so embarrassing. Just knowing what's going to happen and how it's going to happen as well. It shouldn't be that easy. Like, why do I know what's going to happen every time? Udogie there, what he needed to do was like tuck in. I guess, do you know what probably happened? Udogie, knowing how many chances were given away at the back post, kind of stuck away on the back post a little bit more, but the ball came in the middle and Van de Ven and Romero weren't in the right position. Now the Chelsea fans bang up for this and Spurs have to do something different. Udogie does well to turn away from Fernandez there. He's in down the left. Had an option down the line. Gives it to Son, who gets to the byline. Has to turn away. He's got Madders with him, but goes back to Udogie. Does well on the half turn. Back to Bentancur. Gives it to Romero. He's got Odobert outside him. I wonder if Pedro Porro might come on soon. I wonder if Spence will go to left back. Porro to right back. Bentancur there on the right-hand side now. Plays it out to Odobert, who's offside. This Tottenham team, man. Fucking Spence. It was actually offside, and it's pathetic. Chelsea take it early, and it's a bad pass. So as a result, the ref brings it back. Here, have another go, Chelsea. Sanchez plays it wide to Chalobah, who beats Son very easily and then just comes inside Udogie too easily as well and dives on the floor, Chalobah. They've cut to Ange on the sidelines. He looks angry, but mate, they're not playing for you. I'll tell you what, bad ball from Chelsea, picked up by Bergvall, but a heavy touch. And Cucurella tackles him and it falls straight to Chelsea again. And now Chelsea on the transition. Bergvall looks winded. And Chelsea just have players coming through. And Fernandez, Chelsea have 5 forward now. It's going to be played into Sancho. Surely, no, he's gone the other way to Neto. I'm not sure that was the right decision. But Neto dinks it to the back post. Spence heads it straight to Fernandez in the middle of the box. And he tries an overhead kick. I'm sorry to laugh, but Tottenham just absolutely embarrassing. My God, what an absolute crock of shit this team are at the moment. Anyway, Van de Ven on the ball, having to drive through the middle as Chelsea set a trap, and he plays a good ball out to Bergvall, who has Odobert free now on the right, and he's got space to run into. Go on, beat your man, Odobert. Beat Cucurella. Get to the byline. Well, he tries to, but Cucurella's positioning is great. Really good defending. Didn't look confident there, Odobert, to take him on. Yeah, poor touch from Odobert. Can Spurs surprise us? I think we all know the answer is no. But can they surprise us here and do something that they never do and surprise us and do something different and grab something back from the jaws of defeat? But at the moment, I'd say no, because Chelsea are just taking the piss out of us. Jackson outpacing and outmuscling Romero here down the right. Romero being made to look incredibly average at the moment. And considering... And there we just kick over Neto. Tottenham are losing their heads here. Romero being made to look bang average, and he is a player who is leaking that he wants to go to Real or Atletico Madrid. He's not playing well enough for that. He doesn't get on the pitch nearly often enough, sorry. And in the end, it's Madders who fouls Neto, but Tottenham have lost their heads here, and they're going to concede another one at any minute. This could easily end up being 4 or 5 zip. Would Ange survive a 4 or 5 zip? Probably. And I have to say, guys, a lot of you Spurs fans have been calling for Levy to not just sack the manager every time they have a bad run. So he's listened to you and he hasn't done it. How are you feeling right now? How are you feeling right now as we embarrass ourselves week to week? Fernandez chips it in. Nearly free. Oh, free shot on the edge of the bar. Goal! Caicedo. Volleyed from the edge of the box. I said it was going to be another goal, and it is. 2-0. We won the first header, but we just allowed a lineup of Chelsea players on the edge of the box. Here, have a free shot. And he volleys it into the bottom corner. Oh, is there an offside thing there? There's a lot of offside from the first one. I'm really hoping Kolber's offside there. It might save us. All we can hope is that we're saved by VAR here, because Colwill looks like he might be a step ahead. And he does get... Not sure it is Colwill. Is that Colwill there who looks like he's a step ahead? Jackson is definitely offside, but he's not really involved. This is going to take forever, but I'll go in the comments. Tottenham just embarrassing. Andrew Davis in the comments says, please get relegated. Spurs don't deserve Premier League status. Great finish by Caicedo. He looks offside, but there might be a leg at the back, which is hard to see because he's blocked. This is where VAR, I'm sorry, is just bollocks, because you can't see everybody from this viewpoint. You can't see where Spence's foot is at the back because he's blocked from the camera view. This is embarrassing, man. If anything, I think they'll probably... They need a different angle. I think it might have been Bergvall who clears the first header. And then it just falls to Caicedo on the edge of the box. He's got all the time in the world, and it's a great volley, but I'm sorry, you leave a professional elite footballer totally free on the edge of the box to have a volley at it. You know, 6-7 times out of 10, they're going to see it hit the back of the net. Bad news for my lucky shirt. Hadn't been beaten in this shirt yet. Going to have to throw it back in the basket like all the other previously lucky shirts that are no longer lucky. I think it's one of these where if it's this obvious, then you've got to kind of give the on-pitch decision because there's nothing to prove that it's offside. And they're showing Ange Postecoglou on the sidelines. Either way, whichever fans lose out on this decision will be complaining. He does look offside. His shoulder kind of looks offside, but it's hard to know from the angle. Chelsea fans are booing. Oh, they've given it offside. Good news. But look, I should be absolutely celebrating that that goal's been disallowed, but I'm not because I know they're just going to score another goal. And now there'll be big boos. I'm looking forward to it. I can't say they couldn't prove that for sure, though. But here we go. Spurs somehow still in this game, but Ange needs to change something now because it is not working and they need some new impetus. I feel sorry for Caicedo, but Tottenham need to change something because you just carry on doing the same thing and you get beat. Fucking hell. Just need some fucking miracle in the Europa League, but how can you see it happening when we're so easy to play against? 4 minutes, that VAR took. And Chelsea straight away back into it. Straight through midfield with one pass yet again. And now Neto running at Udogie. Look how easy it is for Chelsea. Spurs players just jogging back to the box. They're not bothered about this. They are not bothered about this manager. I'm sorry. They're not playing for him. I'm sorry. I said it. The first time I said it was the Everton away game, that first half where we're 3-0 down at halftime. They just jog about. Chelsea in again down the left. Palmer. Oh, Romero just dived on the floor unnecessarily. Oh, and Spurs trying to play it around in their own box. What are they doing? Madders actually did well to find Sonny. And Sonny tries to find Odebear. Oh, he's fouled there, isn't he, Odebear? No, ref doesn't give it. It's actually a good tackle. Cucurella playing really well. And Alan Smith says on CoComs, Tottenham hanging on. That is whatever the opposite of a... Yeah, it's an understatement. I was going to say, whatever the opposite of an exaggeration is, it is an understatement. We are, as expected, as I said in the opening, we'll either make Chelsea get all their players back into form or we'll win 4-0. Well, we're not going to win 4-0, so we're playing them back into form. They're looking like Rolls Royces, Chelsea, at the moment. They've been absolute dog shit since they last played Tottenham Hotspur. Dr. Tottenham will come and see you now, Chelsea. You are welcome. The Spurs players are just jogging about. They don't care. They don't care. They don't believe in it. We're wasting time. I'm sorry, Ange. I'll say it again. I'd love it to work out for you, but we are wasting time with you. We are wasting time. Palmer at the byline, but thankfully the pass was too strong and it's a goal kick to Spurs. And you need to change something before we're out of the game. It's 61 minutes. Something has to change. It's not working. Okay. This is going to wind up Spurs fans. Brennan Johnson's coming on. Pat Matasar is also coming on. And now Vicario trying to play, put under pressure here. Gives it into Van der Ven, who gives it into Solanke's feet. And straight away, they lose it to Chelsea, just outside our own box. This has to stop. Oh, and the ref gives a foul to Chelsea. This has to stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But Postecoglou, it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. What are we waiting for? To be embarrassed in the fucking Europa League quarterfinal over two legs? I get comments complaining about how reactive I am. The most reactive man, I said it on a video of mine, the most reactive man involved in Spurs is Ange Postecoglou. We're talking about a man who reacts to fans when they shout at him. So why shouldn't I be reactive when I watch this Ross? Oh, Chelsea were nearly in there because they took a free kick quickly, but the ref has kindly saved us for once. I know, to be fair, VAR saved us. Cheers, VAR. This ref is a knobhead. Such a fucking egomaniac. Anyway, another opportunity for Chelsea to get a free kick into the box. We're not very good at defending set pieces. The Caicedo disallowed goal was from a set piece. Enzo's over it. They take it short because they want to set us up for a cross. Yeah, Palmer with the cross to the back stick. Bentancur clears it. At least he gets some width on the clearance. Spence now just jogging towards Sancho. Bergvall is the only one who put some actual effort, him and Solanke, into their press. Sonny, maybe. Sancho, space down the right now. He's got Palmer inside him. Palmer comes narrow. Back to Enzo. Chelsea, it looks like they're playing against like a Division 3 team, but a Division 3 team who don't give a shit. Chelsea just setting us up for another cross. And actually, I think Neto tried to have a shot there, and it goes out for a throw-in. So this will be the chance, I think, for Spurs, who've done absolutely fuck all in this half. Not that they did that much in the first half, to bring their subs on. So coming off. So it's Sarr and Johnson coming on for Son, who's been dog shit. Oh, no, is it not Son? No, Son just went for a chat, but Son has been dog shit, I'm afraid. Oh, he's taking Bergvall off. He's been our best player. He's been our best player, the only one who gives a shit. Oh, my God. And the away fans, Bergvall and Odebear off. For Johnson and Sarr. And I have to say, I don't know, let me know in the comments, but I thought I heard the away fans booing at that. Yeah, the away fans are chanting, you don't know what you're doing. Solanke, oh, had a chance to put Johnson in there. But it's opened up and actually some space for Sonny on the left. And Udogie has run ahead of him. And Udogie is at the byline here. Can he get a cross in? Cuts it back. Could be a handball. Ref says nothing, obviously, even though the handball stopped the cross. And what happened was Udogie cuts the ball back, and as he's sliding, it hits Chalobah's arm and stops the cross. And that is where the rule is ridiculous, because if the ball is stopping the cross like that, and a chance, it should be a penalty, but it's not. But anyway, Spurs have a corner. I have to say, I wonder if Levy will listen to the Spurs fans chant, "You don't know what you're doing," to big Ange Postecoglou. Bergvall was our best player on the pitch. I don't know if he's injured or in the red zone or what, but he was the one who actually looked like he gave a fuck. Yeah, somehow Spurs still only 1-0 down in this game. Fucking embarrassing. It would be embarrassing if we got a result from this shithole with us playing this shit. Maddison getting pushed a lot here by Jackson. Caicedo pushing Van de Ven. Here comes the corner. Oh my God, it's fucking awful from Son. Hits the first man. Spence gets up. Could break to Spurs. A chance! Oh. Van de Ven had a shot. And unfortunately, he didn't get hold of it. Bentancur clears it. Fortunately, it fell on Van de Ven's right foot. Yeah, on the stretch. I guess it's a shot on target, though. Madder's coming deep again. Madueke about to come on. He's ex-Spurs Academy, of course, so he'll score. Romero plays it to Sarr, who looks interested. He brings it back to Spence. Bentancur's with him. Doesn't give it to him. Oh, my God. A horrible ball from Sarr. And Jackson went in on Romero and will probably get a booking there. Came from a poor ball from Sarr, though. Which he does quite regularly, Sarr. He's not careful enough with the ball. Sancho comes off for Madueke. Hard to see Madueke not scoring if he gets as much space as Sancho did, which he will. 67 minutes gone. Tottenham have been absolute dross the whole game, but especially this second half. And we'll get the same stuff in the post-match press conference. Oh, look, mate. Yeah, look, you know, I can't question the effort of the players. But look, you know, we weren't good enough in the final third, mate. Son plays it to Udogie. Back to Son. Sonny now fronting up Gusto. Plays it to Madders, who's at the byline. Cuts it back. And Sarr dives on the floor, trying to win a penalty. Madders, good strength there, but Gusto works hard. And then an offside against Spurs. Yeah, so Big Ange will be like, oh, look, you know, just not good enough in the final third, but I thought they made the effort. And, you know, they haven't played together a lot. There have been a lot of injuries. Well, there is contact in the box. Anywhere else on the pitch, that would be a foul, but of course, it's not. And I'm bored of hearing Ange Postecoglou with the same old shit. These players are not confident and not into playing for him at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, 68 minutes gone. Still somehow only 1-0. It would be hilarious if we got a result out of this, but it's not going to happen. Spence wins a header from a long ball. Solanke does well in midfield. And Spurs win it high. And Sarr is breaking forward. He's going to have a dig, is he, Sarr? He does. He scored. Matar Sarr has just scored for Tottenham from about 4 million yards. And look, I don't celebrate because we're shit. But it'll be interesting. Chelsea thought there was a foul in that. It's a great strike from Sarr. He beats Sanchez at his near post, and it ends up kind of bouncing up off the bar, even though it was a low shot. But Chelsea will be livid because they thought we won it high with a foul. Now, this will be interesting to see if VAR changed this over, because on pitch it wasn't given. So there's a handball by Caicedo straight away. And then Sarr does kick Caicedo. Yeah, I think this will be overturned. But it was a handball by Caicedo first. Is it? I mean, the question is it a clear and obvious error? That is what it's supposed to be about. Sanchez will be disappointed he doesn't save that. It's a decent strike. Yeah, it's going to be a foul. So this will stay at 1-0. But hey, we had a shot. That's why I didn't celebrate. You can't celebrate anymore. And also Spurs are shit. But why don't they give it for the... There's a handball first. This will be overturned. Because he kicks the back of Caicedo's leg. And that's what goes into the ball. And the ref on first look thought that it was him kicking the ball. I think this is where VAR is probably a good thing and unfortunate for Spurs, but we didn't deserve shit anyway. He goes down so easily, but it is a foul. I mean, he's looking at it for far too many times for this, as far as I'm concerned. But I think Ange is trying to complain because he's suggesting it's not a clear and obvious error, but I think it is a clear and obvious. It would be hilarious if they don't disallow this, but they definitely will. It's an interesting strike. He gets a lot of pace on it, considering he goes with his kind of the inside of his foot. Palmer cannot believe he hasn't already made the decision. It's definitely a foul. I think VAR are trying to find a way for him not to overturn this. I mean, it's on the basis of whether it's a clear and obvious error. And just getting annoyed because he's showing it him in slow motion so many times. It will be disallowed, Ange, and we don't deserve shit. But well done, Pat Matsar, for A, getting a shot off, and B, getting so much pace on it. This will be hilarious if they don't disallow this, I have to say. And look, the Spurs, and yeah, here we go. It's been disallowed. I'll tell you what, you should give the free kick. Oh my God, he's disallowed the goal and booked Sarr. What a joke that is. He's booked Sarr for it instead. What a joke. You couldn't write that. It's no way of booking. He's trying to win the ball back. Fucking hell. This ref, what a cunt. Honestly. That is laughable. Oh, and now the Chelsea fans have seen it in slow motion, so they're trying to ask for a sending off. Cucurella booked as well, apparently. I mean, there were 4 minutes on the previous VAR. Another few minutes for this. There'll be so much added time. Spurs need to find a way to make more chances. Straight away, though, they let Chelsea play a ball through the midfield, and Fernandes finds it out wide to Madueke, who goes on the outside of Udogie, and the ref gives a foul. Of course he does. The Chelsea fans are well up for this now. Fucking hell. According to Jack Pitt-Brook, at the stadium, Postecoglou cupped his hand to his ear and waves at the Spurs fans after Sarr put the ball in the net. Mate, you are going to get yourself sacked. What is he doing? What are you fucking doing, Ange? Doing that to your own fans? Mate, honestly. 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 I'm sorry, mate. Having a go at fans, doing that to your own fans, mate. You're not good enough to do that. You have not been good enough for a year and a half to do that. Here comes the free kick. Free header, just missed. Chelsea player diving on the floor again. Sarr is working hard since he's come on. Good lad. Some other players, especially Maddison, could put in as much effort as he is. He's just jogging around 5 yards left to right. Chelsea with Palmer play a good crossfield ball, but it's offside. Honestly, let me know in the comments how you feel about Ange doing that. That makes me feel livid. Honestly, that makes me feel livid. To your own fucking fans. Are you serious? They're saying you don't know what you're doing because you consistently make bad fucking decisions. Bad substitutions. Honestly. Udogie plays it into Solanke. Holds it up beautifully. And then plays an unfortunately not great ball to Son, but Son does well. Keeps it, comes narrow. Now he's in trouble. Has to go back to Van der Ven. Goes to Romero. Chelsea calling, their fans calling on their players to press. Romero up to Johnson, whose first touch of the match was poor, to be honest. But Caicedo, having to face his own keeper, goes back to Sanchez. There's going to be so much added time in this game. Can Spurs find a way to stick in it and do something? Oh, no. Mickey van der Ven just somehow missed a header. And Vicario saved him. It would have been offside anyway, but that was weird. Van der Ven puts his hands up to apologise. A lot of Spurs players apologising just during this game so far. Van der Ven into Bentancur. And Ange will be asked now, after the game and in the press conference, oh, you cupped your ear to the Spurs fans. Do you think that's respectful to the fans who pay so much money? Anyway, Doggy's got a lot of space coming forward. Lays it outside to Son, who's still getting space, but not doing very well. Tries to go to the byline. Easily dealt with. Easily dealt with. Easily dealt with. Goal kick.
Words were spoken just before the challenge that led to the goal being ruled out.
Oh, Spurs won the ball high here. Maddison out to Doggy. Needs options here, Doggy. No one moving for him. Literally no one moving for him. Has to go back to Van der Ven. It's a poor ball, and now we're back in our own half. Oh, my God. Don't forget, guys, there'll be the fan show after this game, after my instant match reaction. Indefensible, some of the jogging around that this team have done tonight. Indefensible. No movement, no desire. Romero is now just staying in the number 10 position on his own. Just standing there. The fuck is he doing? Van der Ven tries to dink one over the top towards Son, but it's easily cleared. But then Son wins the header. Comes to Madders outside the box. He's forced to go backwards. Comes to Sarr. Lays it outside to Spence. Gives it to Johnson. Plays a good ball to Sarr. Chance for a cross here. Dinks it. Nobody at the back post for Spurs. Can they win the second one? Bentancur does. Gets it to Johnson. Loses it too easily. And Palmer clears it. And as well finds a clearance to Neto. And Romero gets it out for a throw-in. 77 minutes gone, but there will be an added, I would have thought, 9 or 10 added minutes at the end of this, which if Spurs are still in it, could be interesting, but I bet we can see the goal before then, and actually it'll just be Chelsea knocking it about. And Palmer's in down the left now. Cross is blocked by Romero for a throw-in. Chelsea taking their time over things now, of course. Oh, dear. It's going to be so upsetting next week against Eintracht. And Spence loses it again. But Johnson does well helping him out. That's pretty rare. Don't foul him. Johnson does well. Now Spence puts his foot on the ball. Tottenham trying to play it out of a very tight corner. Spence turns away. What are we doing? Gives it into Bentancur, who tries to clear it. Blocked. And then we just give it to Chelsea again. This has happened so many times. They're in the box. This is exactly what led to the goal, actually. Oh, and they're in the box. Vicario stops it, and then a poor clearance, but Son gets it down. Gives it to Madders, does well on the half turn. Now we need some options with pace. Sonny is trying to help him. This is a decent position for Spurs. Can you find Sonny? He does. Sonny in one of his positions that he loves, but Chelsea getting back. Comes now, and that is a free kick to Spurs. On the edge of the box, an actual chance. Get Porro on the pitch now to take this free kick. And Alan Smith on COCOM saying it's a struggle for Son these days, that you never get the feeling that he's going to do anything. And I'm afraid he's right. He's had another poor game. Now, I'd let Sonny take this, but Maddison's over it. I don't know why Sonny is always subservient to this. He scores so many free kicks for South Korea. Madders hasn't scored that many for Spurs, but I hope I'm wrong. It's a really good chance this on the inside left position. Chelsea are setting up a 4-man wall, and the wall is not from this camera angle in the right place at the moment. It looks like he's setting up the wall at his near stick. They've got the old draft excluder, Neto, underneath the wall. Come on, Madders. This is why you were brought to the club, mate. The wall, I'm telling you, is not set up to mark the near post. So if we could get a left footer to just bend it into that near post, wall looks like it's about 8 yards out. Up steps Madders. It's going to hit the wall or go over. Hits the wall. You know it. It's a corner. Our corners in this game have been absolute dog shit, as they have been all season. Another reason I'm afraid why Ange not good enough. When you come out and say he doesn't need a set piece coach and then you don't score any goals from set pieces, embarrassing. Here comes the corner. Hits the first man. About the 6th corner for Spurs that hit the first man this half. Johnson actually does well. Gives it to Maddison, who finds Johnson now at the byline. Tries the dinked cross. Goes to the front post. Chance. Oh, nearly fell to Maddison. Chance for Spence. Oh my God, he tries to put too much on it over the bar. And he's asking for a corner, but the ref doesn't give it by the looks of things. No, that won't be handball. Spence didn't need to try and hit that too hard. Just needs to try and keep it down because it could get deflected in or anything. Chelsea bring on Reece James. For Jackson. So a defensive. I think there's going to be about 20 minutes to go, and Chelsea have gone defensive here with Reece James coming on for Nicholas Jackson. I wonder if could that lead to some possession for Spurs, some momentum? I don't know. Maresca will be unhappy that they're not more than 1 goal ahead, that's for sure. James slots in at right back. Long ball from Sanchez. Oh, 2 Spurs players go up for the same header. Sarr and Bentancur, and just head it out. Oh, God. Just watching Spurs is actually fucking boring. I feel sorry for Solanke. He works so hard. We don't make him any chances. Sanchez just kicks it long over Tottenham's high line. And Gusto's in. And he's ahead of Spence. Does well. Why is it so easy? Dink to the back post. Oh, and it nearly goes in. Great save from Vic. Oh, careful. Nearly gave away a pen there. Oh, dear. And Udogie tries to give away another foul, but he doesn't. Now Sonny, as we win it back high. What can you do here, Sonny? He's running into trouble. Gives it to Bentancur. Romero tries something different with a longer ball, and it's absolutely embarrassing. Straight through to Sanchez. Sanchez now going long every time. I just wonder if this might lead to a little bit of a momentum shift if Spurs can try and get the ball down at all. But at the moment, it's just broken into a classic. Every game we play, we go, we're losing going into the last bit, and the team we're playing against just make it really bitty, and Spurs never get any hold on it. And we're into that zone. But I think Chelsea may have gone a little early because there's going to be so much added time. There's 6 minutes left till the 90, but then a lot of added time. And now, if Tottenham can get the ball down, oh, Van der Ven has just slipped over and fouled Neto. Oh no, and he's grabbing his calf. Oh my God. Is it cramp? Hopefully it's just cramp. Van der Ven is limping. Please be cramp. Oh my God. I mean, what does it matter? There's no belief in this Tottenham side. I mean, and it makes sense. We're bloody 15th, 16th in the league. Of course, there's going to be no belief. Another free kick to Chelsea. Chance to get it in the box. Oh, in fact, they just give it to Madueke to drive towards the box. Looking to turn all our players. And Neto is offside. So I don't mind that. Spurs try and do it early, but referee calls it back. And like I said, it's just the game's getting really bitty now. And Cole Palmer should be booked for that, but won't be because he throws the ball away. Oh, he does get booked for it. Good. Just wonder if Chelsea have gone a bit early with this. Can Tottenham... Oh, and the referee now pushing Vicario back. Fucking hell. It's embarrassing. Can Tottenham try and get up some kind of head of steam now? Chelsea have made a defensive sub, but Chelsea's still pressing very high, just with a force 9 now, basically. Vicario plays it to Romero, puts him in trouble. Romero puts Spence in trouble. What are we doing? What are you doing? And we just give it away. Oh, and in the end, Romero just has to whack it. The Chelsea fans just laughing at Spurs, honestly. Chalobah, lovely touch. Just coming forward, but Van de Ven deals with it easily and is fouled. And of course, the foul isn't given. Chalobah fouled both Udogie and Van de Ven, and neither were given. Shut up, Alan Smith. Fuck off, honestly. Tottenham just allowing this game to get away from them here, playing into Chelsea's hands. And Van de Ven being brought off now. So Tell and Porro coming on. Maddison again taken off when we need a goal. Why does he do that? Why does he fucking do that? I think he's taking Van de Ven off just because he's afraid, isn't he, that he grabbed his calf. I'm sure it was hopefully just a little bit of cramp. But hopefully Matthias Tell can do something. We now have a forward line of Solanke, Tell, and Johnson. Johnson hasn't had a kick since he's come on. And just over and over again, Chelsea just playing a long ball over the top of Spurs. And they're in. Doggy. Fernandez goes down. Spence plays a horrible ball back to Vic. And we kick it straight to Chelsea again. And Tottenham can't get the ball down. Because of all these subs he's made, they're just, honestly, they've just totally ripped everything up. Not that Spurs ever were good before the subs, but just literally playing into Chelsea's hands, making mad substitutions. Oh, they're trying to find a penalty here against Udogie. No. Gets the ball. Fernandez throws himself to the ground. But again, another VAR check. That should add to... It should be about 10 minutes added time. It'll be interesting to see whether they find it. Spence now playing at centre-back. Heads it to Son. Goes back to Doggy, who takes a terrible touch. And it has to go back to Vicario. He's going to have to kick it long. And so bad. Sarr does well in midfield, but Spurs caught with... Oh, my God. And Brennan Johnson with a terrible touch. And Caicedo beats 3 Spurs players and just plays the ball through to Palmer. Lovely stuff from Romero, to be fair. And good stuff finds Solanke. And Spurs with a chance here. Find Brennan Johnson. Tell you what, Sonny's free at the back post if he can find it. Chance! Oh, and it's saved by Sanchez. Johnson did what Johnson can do so well. Opened his legs. And the cross is just a bit too much on it, but it was good from Johnson. Son couldn't get enough on the finish, unfortunately. But that was good from Johnson. He's great when he gets into those positions. Porro now on the free kick on the corner, so hopefully a better one. Yeah, it goes deeper. Headed up from Chelsea at the front post. And the second header. Tell tries the volley over the bar. That was an important save by Sanchez. It was good stuff in midfield from Spurs. And that is what Johnson's good at, when you can run into space. And there's just... I can't blame him, because he had to get enough pace on it to get it in front of Colwill. And Sonny couldn't quite catch up with it to get enough on it. 12 minutes added time. There we go. Come on, Spurs. And Chelsea now bringing on some more players. And more subs coming on now for Chelsea. Told you that Palmer would play himself back into form. And I saw actually Fernandes in the tunnel before the game, and he was like this, like, you know, wanted it so badly. You don't see that from any of the Spurs players. But still 1-0, you never know. I did wonder if Chelsea had gone too early. It would be hilarious if we got a result from this, but frankly, even if we got a goal, it wouldn't surprise me if then Chelsea got another goal. Because that's Tottenham, isn't it? So Tosin and Dewsbury Hall have come on. Chelsea brought on another defensive player. And Fernandes is, Sanchez is just wasting time on the goal kick. Ref calling him on. Blah, 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 blah. Sarr just, poor header, heads it off. Just more chance for Chelsea to waste time. Cucurella just walking to the ball, of course. Don't forget, guys, I'll be doing an instant match reaction straight after this game. And then the fan show where I get to speak to Spurs fans about how shit Spurs are. Chelsea just doing what every team do against us now, just throwing it down the line. We headed off for a throw. They take 30 seconds over each throw. And it's because Tottenham have no belief or desire to do anything different. Just allow it. It's fucking shit is what it is. Cucurella, he's offside there. So Spurs do have a chance to get the ball back. Porro, trying to make it happen quickly. Go on then, Romero, take it. Oh, God. And the camera going to Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank in the sands. Who cares? Just show us the game. Okay, Romero on the ball. Drops it into Bentancur. Spence is now playing on the left of the two centre-halves. He's not a centre-half. He's a right-back by trade, but sure, let's play him on the left where he's most uncomfortable. Romero plays it into Bentancur in central midfield. He opens it out to Doggy, who has at least played 90 minutes, I guess. He plays it into Son. He plays it around the corner to Tell. Good touch from Tell. Keeps it. Gives it back to Spence, who tries a drop ball over the top. What are you doing? What are you doing? Just no fucking percentage play in that, and it's just wasting Chelsea's time. And the commentator saying how Solanke's made no impression. We don't make him any fucking chances. He's just a runner. I feel sorry for him. God, they've just shown the match stats. It kind of makes it look relatively even, but it hasn't been. 8 shots to Spurs, 11 to Chelsea. 53% possession Chelsea. But it hasn't felt close at all. And Sanchez just taking another minute over this free kick. Chelsea just kicking it long now. Bentancur with the first header. It comes back to Bentancur. Gives it to Sarr. Gives it to Romero. Spurs are going to have to do something a bit different here. Porro. Back to Romero. He's looking for a long ball. Nothing on. Sarr tries to drop in for him. And then Sarr with a heavy first touch as ever. And he's pushed on the ground. Sarr. Free kick. Tottenham just don't look like they're just wandering around. This is a London derby against Chelsea. We're 1-0 down with 5 minutes of added time to go, 6 minutes of added time to go. And they just look completely clueless. And Vicario's just had to come to the halfway line. He actually does really well. Gives it to Romero. Come on then, put it forward, Christian. He's looking to do something special. Oh my God, plays it into Solanke, and that is poor from Solanke. I've written nothing, apart from, I guess, that chance for Son. I've written nothing about Spurs in this second half, really. Sanchez taking ages over the ball with the ball in his hands. Oh, God. Sanchez has had the ball now for 25 seconds. Deary me. Finally kicks it. Referee just letting everybody get away with murder. Udogie wins the first one. Caicedo wins the second, and then Udogie comes in. Ball into Solanke's feet. Got to try and win something there. Does well, Solanke. Opens it up. We've got some space down the left. Tell is outside him. Plays it to Tell on the left-hand side. He's cutting, running into the box now, Tell. Can you pick anything out? Sarr on the edge of the box, but the pass was too heavy. So he opens it out to Porro. Back to Bentancur, and there are bodies now. Oh, and Bentancur finds Tell. He's in a good spot. Gets to the byline here. Whacks it across the front, but straight into Sanchez. Sanchez still got the ball in his hands. Just the referee is just letting him get away with absolute murder. Big high kick. Udogie just lets it bounce. Then gets a header and heads it off for throw-in so they can waste more time. Fucking just watching what players in white shirts just milling about like this. No belief, no desire, no interest. They're not playing for the manager. I'm sorry, guys, they're not. They just don't believe in it. Fuck him off. Get in Gus Hiddink. Get in someone just for the last few games to actually make them believe in themselves. I don't care who it is. Honestly, just watching this fucking endless dross. Here comes Romero. Now Chelsea go and press him at the halfway line. So he plays it to Spence. Jogging. Gets it out to Son. Back to Spence. Just passing it around the halfway line. Porro lays it backwards to Romero. Come on, Christian. What would you do if this was Argentina? You were 1-0 down. Something different, I think. Plays it out wide to Johnson. Porro's made a good run. Looks onside. Gets to the byline. Tries the cross. And that is going to be... Should be a corner, but it's not. And Porro is going to get himself sent off here if he's not careful. He screams in the face of the linesman. He gets a booking. And I bet this is a corner from the way he reacts. So hits Porro and then hits... Yeah. Oh my God, it's so a corner. Oh, and he knocked the linesman's flag down and everything. But it's the most obvious corner. It hits Dewsbury Hall twice before going off the pitch for a corner. Whatever. Tottenham haven't deserved shit anyway. Really no point. We'll probably lose to Southampton the weekend. But, you know, keep Ange in his job. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Spurs win the ball back in our own half. Bentancur. And then slid in by Dewsbury Hall. And they're just finishing this game off, really, Chelsea here. Not having to do much. We made that one chance through Johnson. Oh, Johnson was booked as well. I'm not sure what for. Anyway, Udogie running down the left. It would still be funny if we could nick something here just because Chelsea have gone so defensive, but it wouldn't probably make me that much happier. Maybe a bit. I don't know. Sarr opens it out to Bentancur. Got Porro. Johnson, get away from him. He does. Now Porro tries the cross, and that's deflected. Is that a goal? That's a corner for Spurs. Get the keeper up. Get Vicario up for the corner. And, as usual, looking bored on the sidelines. 5,000 of you watching concurrently. I will be doing a post-match reaction here and the fan show. So keep on board. Press that like button. And we can all slag off Tottenham together in 5 minutes' time. Here comes the outswinger from Porro. Can we make a chance somehow? No, easily cleared by Chalobah. Comes to Johnson. Good touch from Johnson. Tries to beat his man, and then he will give away a foul. You just know it. You just know it. Johnson then kicked the ball away. It's his own time, but arguably that could have been a booking and a sending off. And because he gave away that foul, Sanchez is just going to take all the time in the world. And the referee hasn't booked Sanchez, even though he's been wasting time for the last 25 minutes. Yeah, Alan Smith just saying how Chelsea have been leaking goals during a poor spell and Spurs haven't asked any questions of them whatsoever. So poor. And that will be a Spurs throw. Porro takes it quickly. Go on, Porro. Just do it. There you go. Throws it back to Spence. Should open it out to Udogie if he can. Just gives it to Vicario first. We're in the last 2 minutes of added time. Sarr breaking through midfield. Finds Udogie. Gives it back to Sarr. Spurs just have men lining up. Romero now just playing up front, actually. Oh my God, what a horror touch from Brennan Johnson. Bentancur is fouled, but not given, so it goes back to Vicario. He did play on, to be fair, though, ref. So into the last 2 minutes of the game. Spence plays it to Sarr, puts him in trouble. Back to Spence. Back to Tell coming deep for the ball now, but nothing on for him. Gives it to Son. How he's still on the pitch, I have no fucking idea. Back to Tell. Tries a dink over the top. It's absolute dog shit. And it comes back to halfway. And Tell, of course, not being given a ball to play with, has to run into the crowd to get one. Tell throws it to Jed Spence. At some point, we're going to just have to throw the ball forward, lads, because we've got loads of people in that forward line. But instead, Bentancur just jogging over the ball, gives it to Vicario. You're jogging over the ball. We're in the last minute of the We're in the last minute of the game, mate. We're in the last minute of the game. What are you doing? Just standing on the ball. Eventually clips it up to Sarr, but he's easily beaten. But Son wins it outside the box. Gives it inside. Is it a chance for Tell to have a shot? He dinks it over towards Johnson. It's poor. Romero doesn't win it, and it's cleared. Just embarrassing, Tottenham Hotspur. Bentancur gives it back to Vicario. He has to go long. He has to go long. You have to go long. All right, gives it to Spence. Poor pass. Spence gives it to Tell, who's facing his own goal. So it goes back to Vicario. Could have gone long the first time. Oh, plays it short again. 9 seconds left, you absolute pricks. 9, and they're just, honestly, this lot. Oh my God, and they lost it in midfield. That will probably be it. Spence wins an important header. Tell muscled off the ball. And Chelsea, with Madueke now, win a foul. Honestly, Tottenham Hotspur, just embarrassing. Truly embarrassing. Truly, 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 truly embarrassing. The worst Tottenham Hotspur team, I have to say. Lack of desire, lack of motivation. Horrible. Spencer's just been booked for a foul. Chelsea time wasting. It's been so easy for them. Anyway, I'm saying the stuff that I'll say in my instant match reaction. Can't say it twice. Chelsea fans singing Tottenham get battered. Something has to change. Something has to change. Can't handle another 10 games of that this season. Chelsea madly just kicked it off. And the fan throws another ball on the pitch. Go on, Spence. Spence finally goes long with it. Spurs beaten in the air as we have been all game. And that's the end. This is my instant match reaction to the Chelsea 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0 Premier League game. And Enzo Fernandez walks on the pitch. He scored the winner for Chelsea, and he wanted it tonight. He's an Argentinian international. He goes away to Argentina with Christian Romero, where they both want to win desperately. The difference is he wants to win desperately for his club as well. Tottenham tonight, embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Didn't lay a glove on Chelsea. Did not lay a glove on Chelsea. We had a goal disallowed for VAR. That would have been completely against the run of play. Didn't deserve shit. I didn't celebrate it. We made one other chance in the last kind of 5-10 minutes where Brennan Johnson opened his legs and got a cross into Sonny at the back post, and Sonny was stretching and makes Sanchez make a save. I didn't really care, because this team leave me devoid of passion. They leave me devoid of interest. They're jogging around the pitch. You cannot tell me they are playing for Ange Postecoglou. What is this, our 20th defeat of the season? How can you tell me this man deserves to be in the job? How can you just blame the injuries? We don't have the injuries anymore, and the players aren't playing for him. They're jogging about, milling around the pitch. They don't give a fuck. I'm sorry, they do not give a fuck. Chelsea have been poor since they last played well That was where? The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where they beat us 4-3. Tonight, we made them look like Rolls-Royce players just stroking it about. Oh, my God. And still, it shows how poor they are. They only beat us 1-0. They should have probably beaten us 4 or 5. Listen, this is done. This is done. We're all desperately hoping that something is going to happen in the Europa League. How is it going to happen in the Europa League? These players don't give a fuck. They do not give a fuck. Magically hoping for some miracle where they turn up next Thursday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and they magically care. Listen, one of the worst things that has happened tonight, and actually they're now showing, the Spurs fans are all swearing at the players. They're swearing at the players and they're showing this on Sky Sports. And I was just about to say one of the worst things that I've seen happen from any manager of Tottenham happened tonight. Ange Postecoglou had just made 2 substitutions. He took off Lucas Bergvall, who for me was the one player trying his heart out for Spurs. And he brought on Brennan Johnson. And the Spurs fans, this was at 1-0 down, were chanting at him, "You don't know what you're doing." Pat Matassar then scored a goal that was going to be, ended up being disallowed by VAR. And Ange Postecoglou cupped his ear to the Spurs fans. What are you doing? I said it during the watch along. I've said it during one of my videos. People complain at me in the comments for being reactive. Ange Postecoglou is the most reactive person involved in Spurs. He hasn't got it. I'm sorry, guys. He hasn't got it to handle managing an elite club in the Premier League. And I'm sorry. I know he did a great job in Australia. I know he's a cult manager. He did a great job in Japan. I know he's brilliant at Celtic, but he hasn't got it. And I'll say it again, time and time and time again in this game, including the goal that ended this game, as Spurs fans swearing more and more at their players and at their manager. It's toxic there. It's ugly. But time and time again in this game, we conceded chances from crosses just coming in and free players at the back post. And in the example of the goal, just a player swanning in in the middle of the goal, 4 yards out, heads it in. Embarrassing. This is a London derby away. This is the game you want to play your best at. And we didn't care. And the manager made some bananas substitutions. And the fans who pay huge money to travel home and away to see their team, the highest ticket prices in the land, to watch Tottenham, the team in 15th, and what should be or will be soon 16th place in the Premier League, the highest ticket prices in the land, to watch that absolute dross. And I said at half-time that Tottenham had been poor, and they somehow managed to better it in the second half by being even worse. Even worse. I know the options are limited. I don't know what the options are. You sack him now and you bring in Ryan Mason or Matty Wells, but I promise you it can't be worse, because I promise you those men, if they came in, would say, all right, we're not going to invert. We're not going to let crosses get in really easily. We're going to be tighter. We're going to be hard to beat. And maybe then we'd nick some results. I don't know. I don't know how fully I believe in it. But I tell you what, I don't believe that there's any chance whatsoever that Eintracht Frankfurt are analysing every goal that Tottenham concede and just saying, all you have to do, lads, set them up out wide. So pop it around when you're out wide in the forward third, and then pop it back to your fullback or your central midfielder who's just going to whip in a cross, and Tottenham aren't going to defend the back post, so you'll make chance after chance after chance. Tonight, Vicario looked pretty dodgy with the ball at his feet. He made some odd decisions, but he saved us. He made some important saves over and over again, all pretty much from the back post. And like I said, conceded that goal. I'm bored of saying it. I'm fucking bored of saying it. It's embarrassing. I don't know shit about tactics, but every week, every game on the watch-alongs, I know how the opposition are going to score goals and make chances against us. I'll go through the team. Vicario, 7 out of 10 because he made some important saves. Spence, 6 out of 10, made some bizarre decisions, but worked hard, tried. Romero, 6 out of 10. Van der Ven, I'm going to give a 7 on the basis he didn't get injured. Udogi, 6 out of 10. Bergvall, I'm going to give a 7. I thought he tried harder than anybody else. And then for the pleasure of working harder than anyone else and trying things, he was taken off by Ange Postecoglou. Bentancur, 6 out of 10. Ran about. From Bentancur, what are you looking for? Uruguayan international. Loves a hard tackle. Loves a 50-50. Doesn't do it. Doesn't do it. Chelsea away, just go in strong. Go in hard. Nothing from him. You're telling me that in the international break for Uruguay, when he plays for them, he doesn't go in hard and show a bit of mettle and show some desire. Same with Romero. He doesn't care the same way he cares about Argentina. There's no way. He got bullied at times by Nicholas Jackson tonight, Romero. There's no way he allows that to happen if he's wearing the blue and white shirt of Argentina. No way in the world. And that's another reason. I've given 2 examples there of how I know they're not playing for Ange Postecoglou. They don't believe in it. They don't care. So fuck him off. Get rid of him. I can't bear watching 11, 10 more games of this. We will get pulverized by Eintracht Frankfurt over 2 legs. They will score goal after goal after goal. James Maddison. Oh my God, I like Madders. As a man, I like him as a player, but he doesn't like Ange Postecoglou. He was swanning about tonight. Swanning about, moving side to side, 5 yards here, 5 yards there. Do you remember? This period is like Tim Sherwood. Do you remember? Tim Sherwood would come out after games and say, this lot, they think they're better than they are. And we all got angry at Tim Sherwood. We all thought he was useless. We got angry at him for giving the gilet to the fan. We're in exactly that same state again. An old school manager who thinks he knows better, who is stubborn. The difference is that Ange actually doesn't give as many chances to youth players as Tim Sherwood did. At least with hindsight, Tim Sherwood gave all those chances. And maybe that's what we'll look back on Ange for. He did at least blood Bergvall. He did at least blood Gray. But Tottenham, oh my God, for a London derby, they just rolled on their back and said, tickle my tummy for fucking 102 minutes, actually. We had 12 minutes added time. We're only 1-0 down. Any other team in the Premier League would have put Chelsea under unbelievable pressure. Tottenham just rolled over. Waste time. Do whatever you want. Oh, we'll slow it down for you if you want. We won't pump it forward. With 30 seconds left of the game, Vicario had his foot on the ball and wasn't pumping it forward. Can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine Alex Ferguson managing a team like that if he saw them doing it? He would fucking sack them. He would sack them. He would say, you're never playing for me again because you don't show the motivation. You don't show the desire. And we need a manager in. I don't care who it is. Sack Ange tonight and bring in fucking Jermaine Defoe from, he was managing the academy teams recently because he will at least tell them to get fucking stuck in. Bring in, I honestly don't know. Bring in fucking Moussa Dembele. I don't care who it is. Just someone who tells them to defend properly, stop crosses, mark the back post, and get stuck in. Because when we get to that Eintracht Frankfurt game, as far as I'm concerned, I just want to see us care. I just want to see us motivated. I just want to see us want it. And I don't want to see us conceding the same goal as we have done over and over for 18 months now. Try and defend it to me, Ange fans. Try and defend it. It is indefensible. It is done. And you accuse me of being reactive, but like I said, Ange is the most reactive. So how can you say to me I'm not allowed to be reactive about watching this utter shit? The worst Tottenham team in the history of the Premier League statistically. And people complain about us only being the 6th highest wage payers. Well, we're the 6th highest wage payers and we're in 15th place. We've lost 20 games. The best example of how they don't play for him is that we never score late equalizers. We never drag it back. We never show the desire or the motivation or anything. So fucking sack him and get somebody in who will put a rocket up their asses. I don't care who it is. Back in the day, in the 80s, when I was young, they used to employ people as player managers. Say to Christian Romero, I know you're going to think this is mental. And of course, it would never happen. Say to him, I'll tell you what, we'll give you 10 games. You can be the manager and just fucking scream at them and make them care and get them to defend. I'm bored of it. And I'm saying mental things and I'm aware of that. But I'm bored of it. The fucking same dross, the same shit over and over again. And I went into this game, the opening of my watch along tonight. I went into it saying, I don't really care about it because it's, the Europa League and we're going to get beaten. But then you watch it. And there's a way to lose football matches, and we consistently lose in the same way, with them all just jogging about. I don't care. Just finishing off my match rating, Son, 4 out of 10. I'm sorry, guys, if I've got some South Korean fans. I'm watching. I love Sonny, but he's gone. He's poor. He is poor. Odebear ran and tried, 6 out of 10. Solanke, I feel sorry for him. Scored nearly 20 goals for Bournemouth last season. We don't make him a single chance. He works his bollocks off, that boy, and we don't make him a single fucking chance. 6 out of 10. The subs I'm not even going to go into. It's not worth it. Southampton at the weekend. I think he should rotate because I don't want Van der Ven to get injured because I do care about the Europa League game. But Jesus Christ, do they need some confidence and pattern forming? So maybe he won't. Maybe he'll try and get them to play together. But tomorrow we're going to get all the podcasts in and people tonight slagging off Spurs on social media like I have. And it's fully deserved. Fully deserved. Absolute dross. That has been my instant match review. Please do like this video. Please do subscribe to the channel. Come on, you Spurs, somehow. Okay, welcome to the fan show after Chelsea beat Tottenham 1-0 at Stamford Bridge. Yet another beating at Stamford Bridge. Should have been more. Just done my instant match reaction. If you saw it, you'll see I'm pretty angry, a lot angrier than I thought I'd be. A lot because of the performance on the pitch, but also because Ange Postecoglou cupped his ears at the Spurs fans. Mate, you don't have the collateral to do that. You do not have the collateral. You don't have the money in the bank to do that. Sacking offence, as if there weren't enough sacking offences. Another sacking offence for Ange Postecoglou. But I'm sure he won't get sacked. And just an absolute, honestly, an absolute embarrassment, that performance. Seen it a million times. But this is the show where I speak to Spurs fans from around the world. And if you want to be on a future show, you can do so by emailing tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. First of all, I'm going to speak to Melvin over there in Malta, one of our regulars. Melvin, how are you, mate? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. I'm sure you've just sat through. In fact, I saw you sit through my pretty irate match review. How do you feel?
Yeah, I've defended Ange this whole time. And last time I was on, I don't remember when. It's been a while. I said it's getting more harder to defend him. I don't even have the energy to do it anymore. I'm not even going to try. It was a painful defeat because before the game, I thought to myself, is there really a chance we could win? And I was like talking to my dad, telling him we could win, today. We could win. And we just didn't. We just don't have, I think, you say we don't have the leadership. I think the manager does things that are strange at times. He just takes things personal, and I don't know. It's just maybe he's not the right man for the job. I think he's done things that he in the future he'll regret. I think things like that are childish. I thought he was much more mature. He said he's tough-skinned, and
he's the opposite of that. He's the opposite of that, in fact.
He speaks really well, and that's the only good thing I can say about him. I mean, he can convince me that he's he's the right man for the job, but we need to see results. And why not try to go for a draw today? And he's stubborn. He says it's not my way. It's not what I'm about. But we're 16th or 17th, and or whatever position we're in. Because I don't look at the table anymore. I haven't looked at the table this season. It's the performance. I felt we tried to match them for physicality, but in moments we couldn't. Madison, he tries, but I just think he's not the quality player we need in the middle. I know I scapegoat Madison a lot because I find him frustrating as a player because I think you have the quality in you to do something. Heung-min Son, I find myself saying he's finished, and at the same time thinking maybe if a different manager comes in, he'll find a way to get more out of him. So there's both sides to that coin, but I do think Son is finished. But Melvin, at the same time, I still think he's worth keeping just in case there's still something there with a different manager.
Melvin, I've asked this question of you before, but I've got to ask, just because the more and more I see of this and the more and more I see of them jogging around, I don't think they believe in it anymore at all. What do you think?
I don't know what he's asking them to do anymore, because our goals this season have been playing high up the pitch, winning the ball in the opposition half, and literally like running, beating them with pace, power, strength, energy, using 5 subs in the second half because they're exhausted. That's where our victories came from. You know, quick attacking football. And we've not seen it since November.
Yep.
Either there's this fear within the players of getting injured again, or I don't know what's wrong with them, to be honest. But they're not doing. We haven't seen handball in a long time. I don't know what's going on. Postecoglou says things in the media and in the press conference where you know, it makes sense. Well, I listen to his press conference sometimes twice because there's messages that he says, and he's quite good at speaking. But again, we need it to happen on the pitch, and it just doesn't. Time and time again, it just doesn't.
Is there a chance? I'm just desperately trying to find something here, but is there a chance that these players are purposely playing 10 to 15% less in the Premier League because they're like, we're only going to try our absolute hardest in the Europa League? I'm not sure.
Potentially, but I don't think it's the case. Unless somehow against Frankfurt we score 4 in like the first half and we absolutely blow them away. Yeah. And it's one of those, you know, I don't think so. I just don't. I'm not defending Ange anymore. I'm not Ange out, but I'm just not that kind of fan. I just support my team, and whatever happens, whatever the club decides to do, I never wanted Conte sacked. I never wanted Jose Mourinho sacked. I'm not that kind of fan. And now all of a sudden, I would bite your hand off to have both of those managers back, either of them. To be honest with you, I'd even take Nuno back. You know, at this point.
Listen. I actually feel I'm usually exactly like you, but I find myself whilst watching this dross wanting to feel something again, and I don't feel anything when I watch these because I feel like they're just jogging about. Like I said so many times, I don't want to repeat myself, but it's like I feel like anything right now would feel different if someone came in and enabled them to just sprint about. Do you remember when Harry Redknapp came in, right? Years ago, and I'm not suggesting Harry Redknapp should come in now because Harry Redknapp, and nobody mentions this because there are a few people in the comments saying, oh, Harry Redknapp could come in. People forget he was the king of the jungle. He was on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. We cannot have our manager being somebody who won a reality show. But I would, when he came in, he just said, oh, we've got players who just don't run about. He told Pavlyuchenko, run about. We need someone to come in and just tell them to fucking run. Why don't they run? They don't sprint.
Barnaby, I loved Harry Redknapp, you know, when I was so gutted when he got sacked because he came in at the club and literally we played incredible football. We had great players, to be fair. And recently he did like a little video where he compared our lineup today to back then and literally picked every single player that he had, you know, apart from Dawson, and then he took him back. But that's a separate issue. Yeah. Today with the performances, I was, you know, not really pleased with anyone and not really disappointed with anyone. I just think as a collective, we're not there. We don't play as a unit. We're not difficult. We make it easy for the opposition to score at times. We don't make it difficult for them to score. The goals we give them are gifted. And in the second half, when it started, the first half, I thought we were growing into the game and thought when the second half started, I said to my dad, let's hope we don't concede within the first 10 minutes or the first 5 minutes. I don't remember the exact moment, which we did.
Melvin, I'm just going to ask you one more question before I let you go. What do you feel about that moment where he cupped his hand to the Spurs fans?
Yeah, like you said, he has no right. I mean, I know we're in a mess, but this guy should be a leader, should be mature, should be intelligent enough to know that when in Italy there's like sayings and stuff like that. When the fans they can like sense the blood when it's like that moment when it's done. Yeah. And it just feels now it's done. You don't do that to the fans. I don't think you do that to the fans. The fans are the core, the heart, the beating heart of the football club. I mean, the football club would die without us. And Tottenham fans are patient. And I'm patient. And I know you're patient as well because I've been following you for a long time. I've heard you, for years on YouTube and stuff like that. So Tottenham fans are patient, but to disrespect your own fans is not acceptable. It's just disrespect. I know we disrespect him, but he's up for criticism. He's there
Because
to be
he's
judged.
being paid about £4 million a year.
Yeah, and he's been telling us, listen, he told us he enjoys this moment. Remember this. He told us, I enjoy the moment when they question me and stuff like that. And he told us this in the video that he did. Expect more consistency he told us this in August. And we've been consistently shit.
Yeah.
So he is right. So
he told us that it would all be better when the players get back, and it's not. Melvin, thanks so much for being part of the show. Really appreciate it. I'm sure I'll speak to you after what will be probably a horrible weekend against Southampton, I would have thought.
Yeah. All the best, Barnaby. See you soon.
Cheers, mate. Goodbye. Okay, lovely chat to Melvin. Next up, believe I'm going to Australia, and Gary.
How you going? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Gary. It's good. I think this is a good time actually to speak to someone from Australia because, as you can tell, we're in a difficult moment with Ange. I wonder if you can give us, find us some positivity and tell us that something miraculous is going to happen, Gary.
I wish I could, but I don't. I'm just, I'm English, but I'm in Australia. But I'm just sick of losing to Chelsea. Like we haven't beaten them in 40 games. Like one win in 40 games, going back like 30 odd years. It's just like, at no point I had to wake up at 10 to 6 this morning to watch it live. At no point did I feel confident at all. It was just like, at best, I really did think that we might get a draw, but it's just like, this guy, it's just like what you said earlier. It's just, he's in above his head. He just doesn't know. He's a good manager at a certain level, but this level is just too much for him.
And Gary, obviously, despite you being English, but in Australia, do you feel, because what I feel, and I try to be really careful, but I do feel like there is obviously a very Australia-based defensiveness about Ange Postecoglou. And I get why, the first manager to ever manage in the Premier League, and they want it to work for him. And I get that. And I will say again, for the umpteenth time, I would love it to work for him and for him to shove it all down our throats by winning the Europa League. But is there any kind of groundswell of change amongst the Australian Spurs fans that maybe Ange might be above his head?
Not really. When I'm here going to work, most people are Ange. Most people love the fact that he's the manager. Like big deal for him over there. I argue constantly with people saying, look, the guy, yes, he's Australian. It's good for here. It's good for the country. It's good for the morale. But it's just like he's just not got it. But yeah, you're right. There is a definite positive Ange vibe over here. There is.
How did they defend it then? How do they defend it now that it's not about the injuries? Because obviously there was the defense before. Like I don't really know. I'm struggling to find a defense for what we're being forced to watch, to be honest.
There isn't one, but there always is with everybody else. There's the injuries, decisions. It's his first time in the Premier League. He'll get it. Once he gets his players back, they'll start to get good. Well, we kind of had our players back tonight, but it just still wasn't there. And so it annoys me. He just stands there on the side of the pitch, and he just doesn't. It's like he just stands there with his hands in his pockets, and the players look at him. It's just like, well, he must think that we're doing okay because he doesn't say anything. So I don't know. I have no defense for him, but and I've never really been Ange out, but I've struggled to just say, just give him a chance. Just let me see what he's going to do if he's got a full strength team. But I can't. I don't. I'm just tired of it, especially against Chelsea. Chelsea's just my hatred. I just can't stand losing to them.
Of course. And Gary, no offense, but I feel like you're probably of a similar vintage to me age-wise, and so I've seen a lot of Spurs. Where do you, if you take Ange out of the situation, and obviously the extreme lack of confidence going through that team and the tactical naivety, where do you think, kind of talent-wise and potential-wise, this squad is? Could you put this alongside the squad that Maurizio Pochettino inherited in terms of it being quite youthful and young, but we haven't seen the best of it yet? Or do you think it's way behind that as an example?
it's not way behind, but it is behind. I do think that with a different manager, there's many managers out there that could get better performance out of this squad of players. But I don't think people say, "Oh, we've got the players." I don't actually think we do. We're not. In my opinion, we're not as good as we think as people say that we are. We're not. We're not terrible. We're better than what we should be in the league, but we're just not. We've definitely got a few players missing. Definitely.
Okay, listen, Gary, lovely to talk to you, mate. Please do call in again, and let's talk after what will hopefully be a better result in the future.
Well, I hope so too. I'm not. I don't want to be. I don't want to sound like negative, but I'm not confident against Frankfurt. I'm just not. I just don't trust him. I don't know.
I agree. Okay, Gary. Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers. Bye bye.
Thanks, Barnaby. Cheers. Thanks.
And just this comment here is another Aussie. As an Aussie, Mark says, I'm sick of this shit. The sooner he leaves, the better. The players are not performing. Okay, so I asked Gary if there was any kind of groundswell. So it's not 100%. Let's go to another regular and to Noel in Ireland. Noel, thank you so much for coming on again. Good to see you recline. Good to see you reclining comfortably in your living room. But what did you make of that performance, mate?
I don't know what I don't know what to say, Barnaby. I'm absolutely I don't know. It's absolutely terrible. I think Melvin said a lot of what I would like to say, but what really disappointed me was I thought that we were growing. We were getting a chasing in the first half, and how we didn't concede earlier on was beyond me. But we got to half time. I thought we'd grow into the game. Perform better in the second half. And exactly like Melbourne, I thought, we'll keep it tight for the first 10, 15 minutes. Don't concede. I think we conceded within 5 minutes. Yeah. And then an offside decision. And I can't for the life of me figure out why VAR took 5 minutes to disallow it. I mean, my God, that was absolutely shocking. You could see clearly that, the guy was offside. But anyway, I thought that actually might inspire us, to go and do something. I think Sarr was a wee bit unlucky. He did make a genuine attempt to go for the ball. And, I thought at this stage we were back in it. Like my prediction was, I predicted with Chris, actually, I was on with Chris on Sunday. And my prediction was 1-1 or 1-1. And I thought we might do it. But, we were just too timid. Again, as a common thread all season, we've been horsed out of it by more physical teams. Chelsea were more physical, and the real disappointing thing for me was the referee or the linesman put up the board for 12 minutes. 12 minutes can win you any game, and it just petered out. And there was no real intensity, there was one or two occasions, that was unlucky with Son. You didn't get the proper contact, but we didn't make the Chelsea keeper work. And, they just, killed the game. And so that was the disappointing thing for me was lack of intensity, lack of something seriously wrong there. Yeah. And I think you're right, actually. They're not playing for him. At the start of the game, actually, I was talking to a friend of mine, actually, today, he's a great Spurs fan. And he rang me before the game and he saw the lineup. And, bar Kulusevski, this is the strongest team we can put out. We can debate the midfield. But did we do anything really? Did we make any real chances? And Chelsea weren't world beaters by any means. But, the way that when we got the ball in the first half especially, we got the ball, deep into Chelsea territory. We lost it too easily. And pardon me. And next thing Chelsea were in our box. The speed that they broke at, it was incredible. And, the Ange ball, the game that, is supposed to be this high pressing game, we were hanging on. We were defending deep. We were the team that was trying to break. So I don't know.
I'm not even sure that it was their speed of attack. It was just one pass every time. Well, they had to play with one pass through the middle of us, and then they're straight at us. I need to ask you, Noel, specifically about that kind of, very reactive moment from Ange Postecoglou cupping his ear towards the fans when he thought that Spurs had scored from Sarr from the substitute, and then it gets VAR. So he couldn't have done anything that made himself look more stupid in the first place because he's reacting too much. He's supposed to be the leader and the manager and to have the most respect for our fans out of anyone. Yeah. And then secondly, to make yourself look almost like the most Tottenham thing ever to do that, and then it be disallowed for VAR. How do you feel on kind of a moral level towards that Very,
Yeah,
what I think was a very childish decision for
I
Ange.
think it's childish, and it doesn't show him in a very good light, And to me, he's too passive anyway. He stands there, he doesn't consult with his coaches. He doesn't do anything. He stands there and lets the thing happen. There's no real. I don't think there's any real leadership from him. There's no leaders on the pitch, and there's certainly no leadership from him. A few weeks ago, I would certainly have been Ange in. And now I can't see bar a miracle, and I can't see the way they played. How are we going to score goals against Frankfurt? Where are we going to get the goals? You actually said it yourself, that Solanke, he must have ran about, I don't know, many kilometres or miles or whatever it is these days, for nothing, and his pressing and everything. He never got the ball. He's a bloody good player, but, give him the chances. We don't make any chances for the strikers. Midfield is anonymous. Back four, Van der Ven. Okay, I can't really pick anybody out, Barnaby. I can't really, even Vicario in the first, 15, 20 minutes was nervous. He was terrible.
I thought Bergvall was at least trying. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's young and he's a bit green behind the ears. He is a good player, and he will come in time. Maybe next season, and obviously the team that you're seeing there today, there'll be a lot of them are not there next season, and but he leaves a lot of room, because sometimes he chases the ball. He reminds me of a schoolboy footballer, that just goes where the ball is, and suddenly there's a lot of space. He's a wee bit indisciplined, but you're right. There is talent there. Other than that, I couldn't see anything. This is one of the nights where I absolutely hate football. And I mean, I'm like yourself. I hate losing against Chelsea. Chelsea of all teams, who single-handedly, along with Manchester City, destroyed English football. That they were able to get away with losing £1 million a week over 20 years. And they're still playing in a grotty little stadium. So I'm not a Chelsea fan by any means. But by God, I hate lose. And I mean, there's been many wonderful Chelsea teams in the past, but that one tonight wasn't great. And I mean, the amount of space that we give Sancho looked like a world beater. In the first 20 minutes, he was running at us. The amount of room that they got, and with a bit more precision, they could have picked us off. It could, and probably should have been more. So I really don't know. I'm exasperated, to say the least, to say the very least. And I saw your after-match reaction, and I can tell when you're not happy. So I'm not happy either. So I don't know where we're going. I mean, Southampton nearly must be fancying coming to Tottenham on Sunday and getting something. They've nothing to fear.
Is there any world in which Ange doesn't survive even getting to the Eintracht Frankfurt game?
From now, after tonight?
Yeah.
I don't think he.
What if he were to lose against Southampton the weekend?
Oh, I still don't think he would. I still don't think he would be. I think the Frankfurt match. I don't think you'll see anything happening until. But what is the point? I mean, even if we go out against Frankfurt, what have we got? 6-7 matches left. Would anybody come in at this stage? Who would you get?
No, but I'll tell you this though. Ipswich won yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
How bad could it get?
Yeah, but I mean, how we're not going to get. I mean, surely we're still how many points above? I mean, they're 12 points above Ipswich. So it's not going to get much. But we have 8 matches left, and if you look at the matches we have left, would we win 4 of them? I absolutely doubt it. I mean, would we get 45 points for the season?
Listen, I've got to break in because amazingly, they brought Ange. I'm pretty sure, unless I'm going mental, I'm pretty sure they'd already done an interview with Ange Postecoglou, and Sky have now brought him back out. I don't know if they're just showing something from later in the interview, but Ange Postecoglou is now having a row with the Sky reporter, where Ange Postecoglou is talking about, the disallowed goal for Sarr and how it wasn't clear and obvious, and he's really fighting it.
I mean,
and now hold on 1 second. He's being asked about the cupping of the ear. Oh. He's being asked if he cupped his ear to the supporters, and he's claiming he doesn't know what you're talking about. He says, "Yeah, I
Okay.
looked." He's saying, "I looked at the fans because I wanted them to be happy."
I don't know what that's about.
I think he's trying to defend himself there, possibly
But I
by
think
not telling the truth.
I don't know how I mean, obviously, if you look at, I mean, VAR looked at it for the SAR.
It was a foul.
For it was a foul.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a foul. I mean, I don't think he deserved a yellow card for it. I personally think, he made a genuine attempt.
That was mad. That was mad that they then turned it over as a yellow card because
Yeah,
there wasn't any strength in it either. That was kind of ridiculous.
not at all.
I don't care. I don't care, and that's how much I don't care at the moment, is because I didn't even celebrate when that goal went in away at Chelsea as an equaliser. I was like, not really that fussed. Anyway, look, Noel, thank you. Sorry to go silent there while I was listening to Postecoglou, but I actually think he's digging himself into deeper and deeper holes here. I think he's in a world of trouble, and I genuinely think that the board, Donna Cullen and Daniel Levy and all those guys, will be texting each other, will be WhatsApping each other today saying, him cupping his ear to the fans, is that a step too far? It's kind of on the level of Tim Sherwood and the Gillet and the kind of embarrassment of that. But yeah, I mean, I think Levy is in a hole of his own making, where he has sacked a manager previously a week before a cup final, which he was then castigated for many years afterwards.
Absolutely.
So he's absolutely stubbornly now sticking with Ange Postecoglou, when arguably, I think we'll look in hindsight, and people have said it, you'd probably think he should have gone after that Tamworth debacle.
Yeah, well, I actually think in the Conte situation that Conte was telling the truth. I mean, maybe he was trying to get himself sacked, but I mean, I wouldn't have sacked Conte under any circumstances.
Conte, I don't think was. I actually think Conte got himself sacked on purpose.
Yeah, well, I think that must be what it was, because to me, if you're telling the truth, it's not a sackable offence. In life we sometimes have to own up to our mistakes, and obviously Levy. And I don't think, going back to Jose Mourinho being sacked, I don't think Levy wanted him to win it. He hoped that he didn't want him to win it, because if he had won it, then there was no way to get him out. So anyway, a bad night, Barnaby. I don't know.
Another bad night,
here. And 16 losses so far this season, and I would imagine it's going to hit 20.
Yeah,
in a 38 league season, 38 match season, it's diabolical.
More to come. Thanks for being a part of the show, Noel. I'll speak to you again.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Barnaby. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, next up, going to New Jersey, and Matt, who's been very patient. Matt, how are you feeling over there, mate?
I'm okay. Apart from the whole football match, I'm doing well. I saw your reaction show, and I wanted to. I shared a lot of those expletive-laced tirades that you had during the game, afterwards, during the lead-up, seeing every little bit of it, and just thinking about this, listening to this so far, and I'm just. It's tough, man. This is a really tough time to be a Spurs fan and try to see anything positive out of this. I can't see anything. I'm trying to be as positive as I can. It's tough, man. It's really tough, especially with, like you said, you're egging the fans on, and then you don't even own up to it, like you just said. It seems like he's digging himself his grave quicker than expected.
Yeah. Where can we go from here, mate? Like, actually, the question I want to ask is, what is going to happen next? Are we just going to tumble into? Can you answer me this? Right? Answer me this. If we go 2-0 down next Thursday at home in the Europa League against Eintracht Frankfurt, that stadium will be it'll be riots, won't it? So what do you think? What do you envisage happening next with this Tottenham team?
That is a horrible scenario to think of, and it is a very plausible scenario to think of, unfortunately, how the form of the two teams are, because if you watch Frankfurt and Bundesliga, they're actually doing very well coming back from the break. I don't know where we go, Barnaby. I got to be completely blunt. I wish I had an answer. I mean, I don't see the point in keeping him. It's clear that the players are not playing for him. I mean, that is very observant. Anybody could see that at this point. They don't make these certain runs when they're supposed to. It seems like only a few people are actually doing the pressing in a coordinated manner. The defense, even with Romero and Van de Ven being back, it still looked shambolic. I mean, I know we've spoken about that back post thing. It's the same things that we see. I've always spoken about the bad positioning when we win the ball and then we send everybody up 2 passes, and then we lose it again, and then 1 pass, they're on our back line. And I think you even mentioned it during your reaction show. It's just like all it takes is 1 pass to get out our back line. It doesn't even take like this coordinated attack. It's like very simplistic passes because we have these massive holes. So as for like a solution, I'm not exactly sure, man, but I know Ange is not the answer for what we're trying to do or anything that we're trying to do. If we want to try to move forward as a club and win things and even win in the Europa League, I don't see that Ange could do it.
Okay, I just have to talk to you. So Paddy, kindly, who I'm going to talk to in a minute, has just private message to say that it was Sky repeating the previous interview, sorry. And the reason they've clearly repeated that previous interview is because they asked Ange Postecoglou whether he cupped his ear to the fans when Pat Matasar scored that goal that was just after the fans had been booing him and chanting, "You don't know what you're doing." And Ange Postecoglou said, "I don't know what you're talking about, mate. No, I didn't do that. I was just trying to get them." Now, Sky set him up because they then have zoomed in on him from a camera with him cupping his ear to the fans. So he has lied, barefaced lied to the cameras. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is going to cause him all world of trouble.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you're already under so much pressure. I mean, everything is riding on these next couple of games. Like your managerial career, like you will be remembered as this fraud who came here, and you will not get another chance here. And maybe that's fair, maybe that's unfair. But that's exactly what's going to happen. And then you do something like that. It just seems like you're getting us all wrong. You're getting the whole fan base wrong. You're getting Spurs wrong. I mean, last year with the City game and with Arsenal going for the title, I mean, he got us wrong then. Numerous times he's called us out, and it's just like, why are you doing this? You're making it almost impossible for anybody to see anything positive coming out of this. And after this, and like you said, they show him like a picture, and oh man, this is just a mess. This is like the Springfield tire fire, man, in The Simpsons. It just keeps burning.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I've seen this mess many times before, and the only difference is that Levy has literally listened so hard to all the Spurs fans who are angry with him for sacking managers too quickly before, and has now gone staunch the other way. And as a result, we now have a manager who is unfortunately making himself a laughing stock, not solely with the way the team are playing, but lying to the press and to the fans about what he did. Oh, and they're now showing another press conference with him. He's lying again in another press conference. Oh, so now he's now saying he did cup his ear, but he was doing it to hear them cheering. Oh my God, this is like when you've been asked by your mum whether you did your homework, and he's doing it in front of the video cameras. And Sky have got their narrative now, and they are trying to hound him out. I think he might go tonight. God. I think he might go tonight. Matt, anyway, listen, I've only got 5 minutes left. I've got to go, but thank you so much for being a part of the show. Let's talk again after the next one. Cheers, mate.
You take care of yourself.
Top man, thanks. Bye-bye. Okay, and finally in today's show, Paddy has been incredibly patient. Breaking news at the moment, Ange is having an absolute meltdown. Paddy, how do you feel about it?
I'm just watching it. It's I think he has to. I think he has to be going, like, because they're repeating this. He's lying. He's continuing to lie. Now they have James Maddison's on.
Yeah.
It just looks. It's just, I don't know, Spurs. We just have. I don't know how we get ourselves into such a mess again and again and again. We just never seem to learn. The team was toothless. There's no plan. That, like, Fulham, no shots on target. Yeah. Again tonight until the last 5 minutes. It's just, I don't know, when Ange came in, it was supposed to be 20, 30 shots a game. You know, we attack. And since Chelsea in October or whatever, the year before last, it's just not the same team.
Paddy, answer me this difficult question, but I'm putting you in Daniel Levy's shoes tonight. You're on WhatsApp with your fellow board members. You see what's going on in real time. What do you do next? What would you do next?
I think he has to go. I think they have to look for a bounce. I don't know about Mason coming in, but I don't think we've many options. I just can't see it improving. It just looks, it's getting toxic. It's back to the way it was with Nuno. Fans aren't playing for him. I think he's going to have to make a call on it. I think he's just going to have to let him go. What do you think?
Well, I actually feel like this particular incident with the cupping of his ear and then lying about it again, and the main part of it being about against his own fans, is it's bringing the club into disrepute. I'm sorry, it's strong words. It's true.
It's 4 times he's done that. He's rowed with his own fans.
Yeah. But this is like, for me, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm wound up by the game as well, but it's a particularly bad look for him to be barefaced lying to the press when they have you cut and dried. It's like Trumpian behavior. And also, I can't think of any examples of other Premier League managers in the past who have done something similar. Listen, what he should have done, what he had to do, and he's under too much pressure, though he didn't. He gets asked about it. He says, yeah, look, it was in the moment. They'd just been booing me. Sorry, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done. But instead, he's lied, hoping that they don't have a camera of him. Then he's had to go back on his lie and say, oh, well, actually, yeah, I did cut my ear, and it was because I wanted to hear them celebrating. Mate, we're not fucking idiots. We are not.
But it's sort of like the issue he had when he was at the Australian youth team. And he had a meltdown there as well when he was getting criticised. And it's kind of back that again. Like he's getting snappy and prickly with a fair question from the interviewer. Again, looking at the ground, the usual crack that he does, looking at the ground and giving smart answers. Like he's 16 defeats in 30 games, 20, as you said, it's going to be at least for the season. Yeah. He's got, you said like he's got nothing in the bank that, people are going to give him a pass on it. So, yeah, I think it's another one bites the dust.
TSOM has just said in the comments, Petty calling for the sack because he cupped his ear. The football was crap. Well, look, I think arguably I was calling for the sack before that, but I think he's got himself a problem. I don't know. I don't think it's about being petty. I think he's got himself a problem where he's, I understand. He's given it back to fans before, and we've kind of been fine with that when they abuse him to his face or they abuse how he looks or whatever. But I think it's another thing where you are turning to fans who pay a lot of money to travel away to watch absolute dross and then almost be like, what? Because what he's doing by that is saying, I know more than you. And so your opinion doesn't count. And I don't think any manager should ever say that to his fans, be it a gesture or in words. And I think that's why he's got himself in trouble. So that's the first part. And then he lies about it, hoping to get away from it. And that is where I think it just looks really embarrassing. Because if he'd just thrown his hands up and said, oh, I fucked up, it was in the moment, I'm sorry, then actually we'd be like, oh, Ange at least tells the truth. And we've been saying for a long time, the thing that I've been saying about him, I love how he talks. I love that he tells the truth and whatever. But actually, he's just becoming more and more overrated. And like you said, prickly and whatever. And I think finally, and I'm sorry, I'm ranting, but finally, the players will see all this. The players will see all this. And if they hadn't gone already, they've gone now because they're just like, oh, mate, you can't. It's like not being able to handle his beer or something. He's gone completely mad.
Jamie Redknapp's loving it too. You can see he's loving it altogether on Sky. So, it's I think it looks like he's lost. It looks like he's lost the players, to be honest, at this stage. I don't think they're not running for him. They're not pressing like they were. Yeah. Like Solanke's not getting any chances at all into the box. It's terrible stuff. So.
Listen, Paddy, thanks so much for being so patient and for being a part of the show. Hopefully I can talk to you after a better result, but not hopeful. But thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Take care.
And you, mate. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, that is the end of the fan show. If you would like to appear on a future episode, please email Chris at tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It's very important to us that this channel gives everyone a voice, particularly from people around the world. So wherever you're from, please do get in touch. Okay, guys, that has been the end of a very long night. And as Sky Sports continue the post-mortem by basically trying to throw Ange under a bus that he's already thrown himself under by cupping his ear to the Tottenham Hotspur faithful when they were chanting at him, you don't know what you're doing. And then the goal that he's cupping his ear to them about gets VAR'd and then he goes into the press conferences and lies about doing it. And you can't pull the wool over our eyes, mate. Don't bullshit a bullshitter. We know you're trying to get yourself out of trouble. We know that you thought you'd get away with it and no one would have seen, but we did see, Sky saw, they've zoomed in on it. And I think he is treading, I mean, he was treading a tightrope before. I think he's about to be pushed off a cliff. I think Levy's in a lot of trouble. I don't know what he's going to do, but keep your eyes peeled, I'd say, because I'd say the board are probably having a meeting right now. Make sure you are subscribed to Chris Cowlin's channel if you're not already, at Chris Cowlin. Also, stay tuned to his channel because in 5 minutes, Craig Dearman will be hosting the Spurs Chat podcast from 11 o'clock, where he'll be joined by Ricky Norwood, Richard Whitehead, and Simon Foxhall, where they will continue to go over this continually breaking news. Tottenham not only lost it on the pitch and rolled over and let their bellies be tickled by Chelsea, but then the manager lost it off the pitch as well. It's just been, all in all, yet another horrible, ugly night to be a Tottenham Hotspur fan. But do stay on Chris's channel, not this feed, a separate feed for the Spurs Chat podcast, and get in there and talk to the boys. All right, guys, another horrible night, but come on, you Spurs.